How's it going, everyone? So you should still be hearing the music really softly. So let me know. Alright, it's practically off now. Alright guys, welcome everyone to Yissilmissil Productions channel. My name is Steven Yissil. And today, it is episode 4 of Let's Talk About It! I didn't want to blow out the mic with that one. But good to see you all here. We have a good show today. I got a little bit, a few videos here. Got 2 videos to cover. And if you haven't checked out the other Let's Talks, I highly suggest you do. And, yeah, it's been an interesting week for sure. Alright, so the music should be killed now. And what we're going to do is just like last week, we're going to be reviewing public video, which is in the domain. There's threats of suing going around these parts. Kind of funny. And I don't know why I have to explain myself with certain things, but later on in this stream I will, when I get challenged in these videos that I'm going to show. So yeah, we have our work cut out for us today. I don't think it's going to be as long as last week, but it's going to be definitely something to consider here. So yeah, I hope you all had a good week. We did have a great Bermuda Triangle show on Thursday. And yesterday we had a great show with the Chicago film industry. So I'm just getting this all queued up here. But it's so funny. I was going to do these definite... We're going to look at definitions of words here. Okay? So firstly, we're going to come up here. Let's get rid of this. Oh, you didn't make your coffee yet, Brenda? Alright. So, what is schizophrenia? I thought this was a good topic to cover because it's mentioned a lot in my prior interviews with others. And I figure we'd see what the official government definition of schizophrenia is. So let's take a look. It says, what is schizophrenia? Schizophrenia is a serious mental illness that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. People with schizophrenia may seem as though they have lost touch with reality, which can be distressing for them and their family, and for their family and friends. People are usually diagnosed with schizophrenia between the ages of 16 and 30 after the first episode of psychosis. Alright, we got that. We're all squared away. We got our notes taken. We know what this word means. Okay. Next, we have the word psychosis. And both of these were used against me recently, so I'm showing everybody the definitions here. And again, I laugh like I do here because I think a lot of this is really silly. And honestly, I don't know. If I didn't spend so much time with certain individuals, I wouldn't even be talking about this stuff, but this is prompting me to do so. So understanding psychosis. What is psychosis? Psychosis refers to a collection of symptoms that affect the mind, where there has been some loss of contact with reality. During an episode of psychosis, a person's thoughts and perceptions are disrupted, and they may have difficulty recognizing what is real and what is not. Who develops psychosis? It is difficult to know the number of people who experience psychosis. Studies estimate that between 15 and 100 people out of 100,000 develop psychosis each year. And it goes on to say how when it develops at ages and as part of many other disorders and illnesses. And so, what are the signs and symptoms of psychosis? People with psychosis typically experience delusions, false beliefs, for example, that people on television are sending them special messages or that they are trying to hurt them, and hallucinations, seeing and hearing things that others do not, such as hearing voices telling them to do something or criticizing them. Other symptoms can include incoherent and nonsense speech and behavior that is inappropriate for the situation. So, yeah. Talking about how big bad people are coming after you, and then you start cracking jokes and laughing all giddily about it. That's, sorry to say, that kind of falls under this definition here. However, a person will often show changes in their behavior before psychosis develops. Behavior warning signs for psychosis include suspiciousness, paranoid ideas, and uneasiness with others, trouble thinking clearly and logically, withdrawing socially and spending a lot more time alone, unusual or overly intense ideas, strange feelings or lack of feelings, decline in self-care or personal hygiene, disruption of sleep, including difficulty falling asleep and reduced sleep time, difficulty telling reality from fantasy, confused speech or trouble communicating, sudden drop in grades or job performance. And alongside these symptoms, a person with psychosis may also experience more general changes in behavior that include emotional disruption, anxiety, lack of motivation, difficulty functioning overall. In some cases, a person experiencing a psychotic episode may behave in confusing and unpredictable ways and may harm themselves or become threatening or violent towards others. The risk of violence and suicide decreases with treatment for psychosis, so it is important to seek help. If you find that you are experiencing these changes in behavior or notice them in a friend or family member, and they begin to intensify or do not go away, reach out to a healthcare professional. So these are definitions from NIH.gov. All right. Just so that we get this clear, I'm reading medical definitions for diseases and symptoms. And yeah, these are medical definitions. Okay. So the psychosis, it's really weird because when I was like studying what psychopathy entailed, I recovered this like definition of it being like almost like OCD about one specific individual or group of individuals, and that could get twisted the wrong way in many different ways, but for context here, I would say psychopathy would be, I don't know, breaking down the way people react or like a response. If somebody thinks something is incredulous, they laugh about it, and then the person seeing that person laugh then goes on to say like, oh no, there's something wrong with him, blah 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 blah. This is a sign of this, blah 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 blah. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. I'll explain it more in this video as we go on, but I did feel a sense of pity this week when I realized that these symptoms may be occurring to individuals that we have previously engaged with and reached out to. And if this is the case, I'm not here to bring people down here. We're we're studying what is currently happening now. And instead of talking with me directly, we have others going on and just spreading disinformation. So we got to correct the record, right? And I don't know if I'll continue doing this as often as I am now, but since this is a hot topic right now, I am addressing it, especially since there's falsities scattered throughout what these people are posting on the internet. And the internet's forever, people. I'm sorry to say, but it is. And you can go and one day make fun of the people who tried to help you, and then the next day say you never did it. But the internet's going to show that you did. All right? Oh no, there's that laugh again. So apparently Tom Althouse, we have a 17-minute clip of him making fun of me and another host that he used to have. So I guess normally in this series of events of Tom Althouse's life, he's had hosts that have had him on their channels wanting to get his story out, right? To get traction. I was one of those individuals. I was, I'd say I'm pretty late in the game. 2022 is when I started interviewing him, but I ended up being the longest person that stuck with it and interviewed him. And over those 22 interviews that I did, I ended up having a very good connection with Tom. We bonded in a sense that like he would call me his brother. And now I say that all the time too, to like people. It's a term of endearment, okay? But like he took it to heart. He really was. I mean, he was one of those guys. Like he says this to all his hosts now, but he would say, "You're so smart. You're so intelligent. You're the first one who gets it." He says this to a lot of his hosts. So right then and there's a lot of lying going on. Could say like, oh, besides so-and-so and so-and-so, you're the only person to get it. That would be more factually correct here. Yeah, Brenda. Yeah, this is the only thing that you agree with that the government comes out with. Yeah, I mean, it's because this is like there's studies behind all of this. These are factual things, okay? And like I said before, these people want to see me cry. It's not going to happen. And that's partially also why I laugh so much. Because they hate seeing this. They hate it. They hate it. Even though they may say they don't. So we have two clips today. I guess we should start the first one. I don't know how many days ago this got posted. I can check real quick for all you. But essentially, you know, people watch this show, they get all bent out of shape. They they turn around and do the very thing they say they're trying to prevent, which is spreading disinformation and bashing others and pitting people against each other. That's all this thing that Veronica did. She went ahead and she invited me onto her show to talk with Tom, and then she uninvited me and uninvited Chad, and then invited Tom on anyway, and then that's what we reviewed last week. But then this past week, Tom showed up on Veronica's show again twice. So 2 more times. This was just 3 days ago. And instead of us watching the whole 58 minutes, I went ahead and made a super cut of just the important stuff. The 17 minutes of bashing myself and Chad from Codebreaker Real Talk. So, as of now, Tom is calling Veronica from this YouTube channel the what was it, like the one that spoke up first. The only one that is speaking up against Anonymous. And Tom is referring to me as Anonymous, which I don't really understand because I've had my name on everything that I've ever done. And even on this stream, like, I'm here. You see my full name. You know my name. You all know my name. It's just really, it's unfortunate that when we take these definitions that we looked at the beginning of the stream and apply it to these individuals, it starts making things a lot more clearer for their behaviors. Because from going from wanting to have people on your team and saying that people are essential, such as myself, and that if it weren't for me or others, then like the story would be lost forever. It's just it's really bad. Yeah, it's just yeah. Zenray says Veronica announced Thomas as her new co-host. He's doing his best Chad impression from what I can see. Yeah. I mean, Tom's whole personality's caught up in I wrote The Matrix. He said that this is the thing that others have said he claims, but then he was trying to backtrack it, saying that, no, I didn't say I wrote The Matrix. I said I wrote the script that became The Matrix. And I tried using that verbiage later in the interviews I was doing with him. I was trying to get him to talk linearly, but we were jumping all over as usual. I don't know what else to say about that. But I do have the two videos to get through today. One is of Tom and Penny just being completely flippant of this whole thing. And the other clip we're going to look at today is showing exactly what went down, and in further detail of how Penny left the situation. The situation being she got caught in a lie, and she fled the property she was living on for free, basically, all right, for 6.5 years. And she left behind a bunch of her belongings in trash bags on the property that she doesn't even own, mind you. It would be like leaving, I don't know, a spare shirt on a bed of a hotel and you forgot about it. Well, now that's the hotel shirt, right? Especially if you forgot about it for a week. You didn't return. Maybe it goes to the lost and found. Maybe it goes to one of the workers that needed an extra shirt. Maybe they're tight on cash. But as far as Penny's situation, she left behind a bunch of garbage, which we'll hear from Susie in this video clip. And also, these two clips are from very different time periods. The first clip that we're looking at today with Penny, Tom, and Veronica is from 3 days ago. It is directly in response to this show from last week. And I hope that Tom watched the whole thing, but I highly doubt it. He probably just skimmed through it. But he did take the time to make fun of my appearance, which tells me he has no argument whatsoever when you start making fun of people's appearance after they say that, after they present their case, such as I did. I presented my case. I showed my side of the story. And Tom's best response to me and Chad and everyone else that is asking what's up, his best response is to make fun of my appearance. So just think about that one. That means there is no substance to what he wants to share, especially if he has no retort to anything we said. And also, Penny did not deny that those journals were hers, but she did say that how she thinks it's illegal that Susie showed them on a live stream on YouTube. But that's Penny. That was Penny's, but now that's Susie's. Okay? It's just how that works. No, nobody broke into Penny's house. No, nobody stole these journals from Penny. Penny left on her own volition in a hurried manner without explanation as to why she needed to hurry. But if you're dealing with people with the symptoms that we've covered at the beginning of this stream, then it all starts to make a little more sense. Especially when they're continually stringing together their lives. Like, I know Zen here has mentioned that schizophrenics weave their lives together. Oh, you know so-and-so, and they did this to me, and so-and-so did this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Oh my God, we're connected. I knew that must have been something that was... I recognize you from somewhere. Like, schizophrenics do this. And these are facts, people. This isn't like speculation. This is first-hand accounts from people dealing with people like that. Again, we read the government definition of these symptoms, and it does get carried away from time to time for some of these people. Yeah, I'm going to have to switch to some mushroom coffee. All right. So, we're not giving them a view count here, because I downloaded the video, so it didn't even count as a view. Alright, that's just how I operate here. I don't want to give you guys any more attention than you need. But the attention needed today is to correct the record, as we did last week. And, yeah, Zenray, birds of a feather flock together, and look who showed up. Look who showed up. Look who's all together on this screen. Tom is with the person here, Penny, that I warned him about. She's handling him. She's handling him so well. In the darkest of intentions. Okay? And she did make a point in this video to mention Jesus Christ, which is something I called her out on last week, so she did watch that whole 5-hour stream. As for Tom, I don't know if he watched the whole stream. But I know he watched parts of it because he did compare my look and appearance to an evil cartoon character. Again, Tom, how old are you? And you have no substance with what you're... you have no retort. Man, you have no retort. All you can do is make fun of my face. It's funny. It's really funny. Oh, yeah. Snakeskin background on Penny here. Alright, so this is 17 minutes. I don't know, the stream's been on for 30 minutes, but we've been live for about 20. So... hopefully we can get through this in about 40 minutes. But there's a lot of lashback here from Tom to me in regards to what I streamed last week. So let's get going. Okay. That didn't have audio. I'm aware of that. So I'm going to say real quick here, this footage is sped up to 1.5x. And that's more for us to have some brevity here, to like just hurry things along so that like we're not stuck in a spot just talking about stuff. But 17 minutes here at 1.5x speed. And I will be stopping and starting this as we go. We'll review it. But these are their words out on the internet. It's public. And here we are doing a review. So it all falls in common domain. Sorry, Veronica. You did this to yourself.
These days, I just put on my blog, all works herein are deemed copywritten by virtue of electronic publication. Now, that's kind of a poor man's copyright, but it will do, because I actually had an individual that took my journals and started publishing segments of my journals on Facebook.
I never knew that you could consider things published by posting them on Facebook. So forget all their stories about copyright and the Copyright Office. They just think posting stuff on the internet just... Firstly, we're not stealing content. We're attributing all of these journals to you, Penny. You wrote them, not anyone else. You wrote those journals, Penny.
And some of those segments were actually sent to me by a friend who this person had tried to turn every single friend that I had, cherished friends, against me.
This is the exact tactic that she used against Brenda and Susie, especially Susie. For 6.5 years, Susie, every time she got close to a new friend, Penny would shoo them away, saying they're not good, I don't like their vibe, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So we're dealing with high-level narcissists with giant egos, and they do talk about the definition of narcissism, and they try to pin it on me. They try to say I'm a narcissist.
And by sending them these publications, or these writings that I had, because when I left where I was, I had to leave. I left like 30 bags of stuff. I had to leave quickly, and I had to pack everything up. I packed it up in 2 days.
She didn't have to leave quickly, and Susie even explained that in the last week's episode of Let's Talk Here, episode 3. Susie said that, like, there was no reason for Penny to leave as quickly as she did. She was caught in a lie, and she just didn't want to deal with the fallout, so she booked it. And she left a bunch of evidence behind about how she's a Satanist. So, unless she was writing, channeling stuff, no matter which way you spin it, it still looks bad, Penny. And you're owning up to that they're your journals here in this show from 3 days ago. You're owning up that they're yours. But you're making the argument that, like, we're not allowed to show them. Like they're private or something. They're not private anymore. You left them on property that's not yours. It's no longer yours. How long has it been? Almost a year? So even like with squatting rights, those journals are no longer yours, pal.
And so I left behind. When you leave someplace, and here's how I learned, unfortunately.
Hey, Woo, you have a good rest of your day. I hope you're feeling better. Or if you're just tired, I hope you get good rest.
To go back. So I traveled on the road a lot. I traveled on the road. I toured. I was in cover bands. I toured across the United States of America. I traveled with 10 trunks of clothes. I was in varied bands. So I would travel within the trunks when I set up my gear, or I was at a band house or whatever. I would use the trunks as a table. As a matter of fact, the trunks are a table right now. Still using the trunks.
So she's explaining her background. She traveled a lot on the road, so she's familiar with traveling long distances. She packed up all her belongings, left Susie's property. But no goodbye, by the way.
Some things never change. And so I traveled on the road with all of my gear. And, I must say, God really protected me, because I never had anything stolen. Only one time, and I knew who took it. In all the hotels, they treated me very well. I would go down and eat with the staff. I would leave gifts for them. Never once did I have any piece of equipment stolen. Nothing.
It feels like she's trying to frame this as Susie stole Penny's journals. No, she didn't. Penny left the house that she was living in on Susie's behalf. It was Susie's house on Susie's land. Penny left at a pigsty, and Susie goes into much detail about that. And I think she'll even mention it in the next clip that we're going to watch after this.
So I would say that I was blessed by that token. And I think also how you treat people is, very important. And unfortunately, sometimes we bring people into our circles, and then they're not who we think they are. And we find out later that they said they were your friend, but they've actually become an enemy.
Penny made herself an enemy of herself, if that makes any sense. She got caught in a lie saying she didn't talk to Brenda. Brenda screenshotted the conversation and sent it to Susie. Susie showed that screenshot to Penny, and then Penny started screaming, saying, "Oh, now I'm the enemy." And Susie walked out of that house because she didn't want to engage in the shouting match. It's all out there. It's been almost a year.
Because now they're taking your words, but they don't even know what your words were or your intent was when you wrote those words. And they're twisting them around to make you into a person that you're not. So I was fortunate enough to get some of the writings of this individual. And by the way, those are work property. So it would...
No, these journals that Susie discovered in trash bags left all over, like, Penny could have thrown this stuff out. Keep this in mind. She's not a good criminal. Because I know she's done stuff that's bad. She's even, she's admitting to murdering people. So there's that.
Be like if someone broke into Tom's house and took his journals that he was using.
Susie did not break in to Penny's house and steal her journals. That's not what's happening here. Penny was living in Susie's house. Susie gave her her own house to live in by herself with one of Susie's dogs. And she streamed all day and night out of that, sat on the same couch, probably had a fucking shit stain on it for all we know. She was living on someone else's property. And to claim that Susie broke into Penny's house and stole her journals. No. Sorry.
But they've actually become an enemy because now they're taking your words, but they don't even know what your words were or your intent was when you wrote those words. And they're twisting them around to make you into...
So what was your intent, Penny, when you wrote those words? And we'll be seeing what the words are shortly here.
A person that you're...
After this video.
Not. So I was fortunate enough to get some of the writings of this individual. And by the way, those are work property. So it would be like if someone broke into Tom's house and took his journals that he was using to... It took his journals that he was writing a script on. Okay, that's his work property. So if someone took those...
Tom claims someone broke into his house and left scripts for him. And it was on his bed when he came back home. He said somehow there's like no break-in damage. Nothing else is stolen. But he claims someone broke into his house and left scripts on his bed. On his bed. He just said this last week.
And published them, then they are now in violation of copyright, and they're stealing your work property. That's simply put. They did much worse to Tom, but simply put, that if they're taking your work product and they're publishing it, they don't have the rights to do that, and you could most assuredly sue.
Fanciful ideas for the mentally challenged.
I am a person that's a creator, so I will continue to create until I leave this plane, and I enjoy creating. So that's why I love the show that I do with David Zublik. I have the ability to create certain things, and I love David. David's an amazing man. I really believe that God led me to David Zublik because my brother David was my older brother, and the book that he wrote was titled The Whistleblower.
See how that she's doing the interlocking, connecting things here?
He wrote several. He wrote a screenplay after The Whistleblower because he wanted me to have it. He gave me a copy of it and said, "This is for your birthday, and I want you to produce this." However...
Zen, by the way, Penny mentions later in here that she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And she was all confused, like, why wasn't I diagnosed before? I was never diagnosed before. Like, she says this later on in this clip. So we at least know for a fact that Penny has been diagnosed as schizophrenic, and she was in a mental institution for a time, which we're not sure if she self-checked in or somebody else checked her in. But there's even pictures of her. Both Tom and Penny have pictures of them in mental asylums. Tom has one of himself in a padded room, which TikTok pulled that short off. Tom gave me pictures of him when he was locked up. And he said to show him on air, and we did. And when I published some of the shorts to TikTok, TikTok pulled the one down that had the picture of him in one of the detainment rooms.
Have the ability to create certain things. And I love David. David's an amazing man. I really believe that God led me to David Ziegler because my brother David was my older brother, and the book that he wrote was titled The Whistleblower.
Again, we just repeated the video clip here, but again, she's saying she's making the name connections again. You know, she has this obsession with a man named John, and John is very, very popular name here in America. So if you run into 10 different Johns, are you going to say they're all connected to each other? Like, come on.
He wrote several. He wrote a screenplay after The Whistleblower because he wanted me to have it. He gave me a copy of it and said, this is for your birthday, and I want you to produce this. However, that final product that I saved in a safe, and when I left my husband, I put it in a briefcase, was taken by an individual named Tony Meese, and I am naming that name. And Tony Meese took my laptop, and he took my briefcase, and he was also in communication with my first agent, Darrell. So I wonder if Tony Meese was given the directive to take the final screenplay that my brother wrote, the last thing that I had from him, to take it and disappear it because I don't have it any longer. It is on the Copyright Office, and as I said, I would have to sue the Copyright Office. I'm not going to be engaging in litigation because I have other things that I need to do, and I think that the mission that David had, I'm achieving that because I am doing what his book wanted to do, which was to research everything and to help whistleblowers. And that is the mission right now. If I get in a position where I can gain that intellectual property that perhaps has already been breached and stolen and parted out by the Copyright Office.
Hey, Rob Harder, this content's a little stressful for me to produce, so that's why I am hitting my nicotine so often. It's a force of habit, yes, but it does keep me collected here.
I will indeed try to bring it to the big screen. For now, I think I'm doing what he would have wanted me to do. I think he would have been proud of what David Ziegler and I are doing to try and help people without a voice to come forward and to educate the world on the deep state, etc. Tom?
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job, really great
I
job.
wanted to ask real quick, Tom. He was laughing because when you said, Penny, that his house being broken into, he just did a show earlier today on Rumble, which I'll share. And why don't
It was a good breaking into, though.
It was a good one. Yeah, let him know. Let him know, Tom. What happened?
A good breaking into. So again, like I've expressed here, because I'm just relaying what these people are saying publicly. He is claiming someone broke into his house in a good way and put just 2 or 3 pages of a script on his bed while he was away in Tampa. Yeah, it's all good, Rob. I know it is it's a crutch, but I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I have nicotine. That's it. That's it, buddy. So for these individuals to the right of me want to even admonish me for doing this. They think that it's like crack. All right. Trust me, it's not.
You're muted.
You're muted.
But yeah, thanks. That was so funny. You and Penny are heroes to me. You really are. Because Veronica, you're the first person really to stand up to anonymouses. That's huge. And Penny, you
hear that? Tom said that Veronica's the first one to stand up to anonymouses. Now, what Tom is meaning here is that Veronica's the first one that stood up to me. Oh my. Tom's calling me an anonymous. When have I ever been anonymous? I'll tell you. Never with this stuff. Sorry. Every single thing I've done in terms of helping Tom has all been public. And the same with questioning Tom, where he's running away from all of my questioning now. So, and it's all because it all started when I told him I'm no longer talking to this individual because I don't trust them. And his response was, "Oh." And I'm sure you can envision that one.
His house being broken into. He just did a show earlier today on Rumble, which I'll share. And why don't
It was a good breaking into, though.
It was a good one. Yeah, let him know. Let him know, Tom. What happened? You're muted.
You're muted.
But yeah, thanks. That was so funny. You and Penny are heroes to me. You really are. Because Veronica, you're the first person really to stand up to anonymouses. That's huge. And Penny, you and David are doing is just absolutely incredible. And I've learned, like, I felt God was leading me, use even like the Daily Show technique. If you got a sense of humor and you're well known, then use it like they do on the Daily Show. And so I'm going to do that right now in a fun way. I just did this for you because I want to bring a laugh. The guy that gave me so much trouble, and I'll show you the thing was Return to My House. We're winning. We're definitely winning. He had said he was my biggest fan. And on the films, when you hear that, when people, even comedies.
Yeah, it's scary because a fan.
He's talking about me right now. Which, by the way, we're going to look at that first email that I reached out to him with. So give me a moment here. Just making my blood pressure go up. The things I have to do to correct the record. Because these people are irresponsible with the things they say. And he's trying to defame me now. Alright, let's just do a search here. Yep. Alright, I found it. Let's just look at this right now so that we further correct the record here. Now, you guys are seeing this, right? Let me make it bigger. Oh, yeah, no. Rob, he's saying I'm a D-list, unintelligent, anonymous. Like, those are his words, not mine. Alright, so you see this? April 30th, 2022. YouTube interview request. This is my first contact with Tom. I reached out to him after seeing he was on a BitShooter's channel. I forget his name now because I don't follow him anymore, right? The guy was having his super chats go off all the time. It was going like, yo, ho, 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 right when like Tom was talking about stuff. But that's how I found Tom. And in that interview and subsequent interviews after that, Tom was giving his personal cell phone out and his email out so that others can contact him to host him on their channels. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to reach out because he said anyone can reach out and talk to him and ask to be on this, to have him on the show. So I say here, good morning, Tom. My name is Steven Yissil, and I am a creative and professional filmmaker that has been inspired all these years by your work without knowing it until recently. I was trying to, buy into what he's been talking about, what all the interviews I watched of him prior to this. I was basically telling him that I was a fan of his work because I followed The Matrix, and apparently he's saying it was ripped off. So I said, I am wise enough to the ongoing evil in Hollywood to stay away from there, and I continue to be drawn to your interviews, which started for me with Titus Frost. There we go. Titus Frost is the channel from BitChute. Cha Money, which is also a real good interviewer. I should reach out to him, see what's going on, because these guys they don't host them anymore. I haven't seen them host it. Any of these people, they're no longer involved, actually. So, and I'm not kidding. Titus Frost, Cha Money, Carmen Smith-Studer, and Chantel Mayberg from Aquarius Rising Africa. It would be an honor for me to be able to conduct a video interview with you on my YouTube channel, Yissilmissil Productions. My goal is personal growth, efficacy, and further understanding of how we got to our present time dealing with corruption and knowing God prevails. Again, I am not a large channel by any means, 984 subscribers. So at that time, I was 984 subs. Most of those were from the board meeting videos and the political events that I covered. Mostly posting from board meeting videos of parents standing up to the corrupt and evil intentioned school boards, city councils, etc. I have ongoing aspirations to screenwrite, direct, edit, and produce original feature films that will positively pave the way for the next generation of filmmakers in the post-Hollywood era. I feel we would have effective dialogue if presented the opportunity. I hope you're doing well, and I look forward to your response. I will leave you with a link to the last short film I made back in college titled The Man, following the redemption of a father's love for his son. Thank you, Stephen Yissil. I left my email address. I left the short link. Yeah, Zen. I said I was the biggest fan of The Matrix. So if you look at here again, it says exactly what I said. I am a creative and professional filmmaker that has been inspired all these years by your work without knowing it until fairly recently. I'm saying I'm a fan of the Matrix franchise, buddy. Okay. Let's get back to this. So I just wanted to make that clear. That was the first email that I sent out. And actually, let's look at his response real quick. Look at this. He got back. How within a few days, he got back. So I will show this once again here. So it's like April 30th, 2022, 6:15 a.m. He got back to me that Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 at 6:59. He said, "Hello, Stephen. I would be honored to be on your show as a guest and appreciate your goals too. What days do you have in mind?" So that rolled everything off. And we ended up doing 22 interviews together before he started bashing me here after I said I was no longer speaking with Penny. And he tried to cut himself off and blame me like I'm unprofessional or something. I'm waiting here for him on the last interview I was supposed to have with him. So yeah, there's that. Just to correct the record, I did not say that I was Tom's biggest fan. I was simply saying that I've been a fan of his work all these years without knowing it because of Hollywood using it, basically, right? That makes sense? All right, let's continue here.
And as a fanatic.
Yes, and they'll do anything. I didn't understand the thing was Return to My House. We're winning. We're definitely winning. He had said he was my biggest fan. And on the films, when you hear that, when people, even comedies.
Yeah, it's scary because a fan is a fanatic.
Yes, and they'll do anything. I didn't understand the mentality. Yeah, my sister actually wrote me a note saying, "I'm your big."
What did he do there with those hands?
On the films, when you hear that, when people, even comedies.
Yeah, it's scary because a fan is a fanatic.
Yes, and they'll do anything. I didn't understand the mentality.
He almost did the devil horns there. Huh?
Yeah, my sister actually wrote me a note saying, "I'm your biggest fan," and it's like before, and they're the two of the toughest people that just turn so viciously because they want to.
I'm pointing certain things out here because even though he claims to be godly and of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, and all that, and the Father Creator, he has vulnerabilities where he's influenced by others, and that's also a gateway for demons to get involved with this, and so he could be doing gestures that he's not aware of. That's the only reason I point that out.
They want to be famous, and it was like I was like, yeah. My sister actually wrote me a note saying, "I'm your biggest fan," and it's like before, and they're.
So there, he's conflating the two. He just said, and this might not even be true if his sister said this or not. He said his sister said that she's his biggest fan. Just prior to that, he said that I said the same thing, which I didn't. And I just proved here with the email that I did not say that.
The two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous. And it was like, I was like, wow.
I turned so viciously. So, like, I did not. And I'm not going to try explaining myself. It's all in part 23 and episode 3 of this series here.
He had said he was my biggest fan. And on the films, when you hear that, when people, even comedies.
Yeah, it's scary because a fan is a fanatic.
Yes, and they'll do anything. I didn't understand the mentality.
Also, I've been trying to see if he's been on other male hosts' shows, and I don't think he has since all of this went down. Like, he's going to all these female hosts because maybe they're the only ones that'll listen to him. I have no idea. But I thought that was an interesting thing to point out. So, Rob says, I'm a fan of the Matrix films as well. However, Tom seems a little narcissistic. Seems he wants to be part of Hollywood so bad he can taste it. Yeah, Rob. He's told me countless times about how all of these Hollywood agents have tried enticing him with starlets and promises of traveling on yachts, speaking to dignitaries, bartering for world peace. And he said that's what he really wants to do, but that these agents come in and offer him starlets and blah, blah, freaking blah. Okay? I'm just trying to be as clear-cut as possible here. He's said about how he's been attracted to some very... Like, these people that come in to help him, that are female, he ends up saying that he has feelings for them or something. He crushes on whatever woman comes across his path that wants to help him. Emma's one. He admitted to me about Emma, the entrepreneur, that he wanted to, seriously, like, wanted to marry her at some point, I think. And the same thing with Danielle Holm, I believe, which she visited him prior to me visiting, and he gave her the ultimatum of moving all your shit to my house, like Tom's house. You have to move all your stuff here or make the decision to double down or we part ways. So she was put in a precarious situation by Tom. She said she needed time to think about it, so she went to Susie and to Susie's ranch. I'm not sure if Brenda was there, but we'll let Brenda say it in the chat if I'm incorrect on that or not. I believe Brenda was there when Danielle visited, but yeah, I think we'll cover some of that today. But that was just something interesting to me. So he is looking to get. It's so convoluted now because all of the warnings that he's been giving about these Hollywood players, he's also accepting the very same tactics from people that he considers his friends. Like this Penny individual. She's covertly gotten involved in his life and took over his time. When I was visiting last year, that's all that Tom had time for was Penny's show and then Netflix upstairs and cooking for his son. And you heard what he said about me last week or the week before on this show, that I ate him out of his house and home. But he was making me buy my own food at Walmart. And he was like acting like he was giving his last nickel up to feed his son. And then he like celebrated when his SNAP benefits got approved. So do you want the help from the government or not? Like, I don't know, man. Like this guy, I don't know what he's doing for work. I don't think he's working at all. And during the time I was there, I put my eBay store on pause for 2 weeks so that I could go and, I guess ultimately waste my time with this asshole.
Yeah, my sister actually wrote me a note saying, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like, before, and they're the two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous. And
I don't want to be famous. And I know that I matter. But fame is not my goal here. Some of this stuff might go viral from time to time. But my goal is to get the truth out here. There's so much BS on the internet. And I don't see too many people talking about this. In fact, I think a lot of Tom's prior hosts that have been dropped off or decided to walk away just said, it's not worth my time and energy anymore. Let this guy go off the rails. But I'm here to correct the record because he's saying inaccurate things about me. and my friends who were closely involved with this person who turned out to be a total fraud. She's not who she says she is. But you can't tell Tom that.
I was like, wow. But Veronica.
So, Brenda says that she was not there during Danielle's visit. So, thank you for correcting the record on that. And Brenda also says he is not a strong person. He has to have someone to follow. He is weak. Yeah. That's why he's following these conferences, tagging along with Penny and Brian saying, which all those two people, Brian and Penny, were involved with Brenda's Beyond the Box show. And when Penny left, she tried to just cut everyone off from the show. And she stole the fucking live stream account from Brenda. That was paid off for a year. So she's like still hijacking that stuff for another few months. They're talking about theft. This bitch right here stole the live stream account from Brenda. That's a fact.
Actually wrote me notes saying, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like before, and they're the two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous. And it was like, I was like, wow. But Veronica is the hero, and the hero in the story. It's like hero in the story that told me it was going on. It's been 30 some years where people would just be silent because they didn't want to get involved, or they call it warning them off. And we call them anonymouses because they don't want to be revealed.
So that's what he's doing with me. He's calling me anonymous, and he's trying to warn me off. He's trying to tell me to stop talking, practically. Now, he hasn't said a word to me since October, mind you. And the only reason that Tom's on this show right now is because this bitch drinking her cup of coffee right here, she watched my show 2 weeks ago on Let's Talk episode 2, and I had brought up the idea of that she should come on here with a few of the other ex-hosts of Tom, and we all have a round table, so to speak, to discuss our experiences about how communication fell off. And Brenda is saying here in the chat, yes, Penny did change all of her passwords for that live stream account. So Penny stole the account. Talking about theft, and she's the one doing it. Again, a trait of a narcissist, which they're also going to do their own, like, breakdown version of what they think narcissism is, but, like, they're describing themselves. It's like holding a mirror up to their faces.
When you hear that, when people, even comedies.
Yeah, it's scary because a fan is a fanatic.
Yes, and they'll do anything. I didn't understand the mentality. Yeah, my sister actually wrote me notes saying, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like before, and they're the two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous.
So he's now categorizing me and his sister as two of the most vicious individuals in this to be against him. Wow. So some tough words, Tom.
Yeah, my sister actually wrote me notes saying, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like before, and they're the two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous.
Tom, you're speaking lies about me, and I'm coming on here to defend myself on my own channel. You're going out here to other people's channels and you're spreading lies, and I'm here correcting the record. All right?
Yeah, my sister actually wrote me notes saying, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like before, and they're the two of the toughest people that, just turn so viciously because they want to matter. They want to be famous. And it was like, I was like, wow. But Veronica is...
Turned so viciously. Dude. Again, watch part 23. You'll see. Tell me where I'm vicious.
Hero in the story. It's like hero in the story that told me it was going on. It's been 30 some years where people would just be silent because they didn't want to get involved.
And now Veronica's the hero in the story. Just like I was the Morpheus, right? He called me his own Morpheus, and you can watch that in the past interviews I've done. He's very two-faced in his answers here, because he says one thing to me, and then he goes off to someone else, and he just puts my name in the mud.
And it was like, I was like, wow. But Veronica is the hero in the story. It's like hero in the story that told me it was going on. It's been 30 some years where people would just be silent because they didn't want to get involved, or they call it warning them off, and we call them anonymouses because they don't want to be revealed. They'll say that. I have a transcript back from CBN, Pat Robertson's organization, where the lady on the transcript is saying, Lossie's a different. Don't tell him I said this, but he's a Jekyll and Hyde. He waves a gun around. He put his fist through a door. It's all in the transcript, and that's.
So he mentions this part a lot. I'll repeat it.
They'll say that. I have a transcript back from CBN, Pat Robertson's organization, it's been 30-some years where people would just be silent because they didn't want to get involved, or they call it warning them off, and we call them anonymouses because they don't want to be revealed. They'll say that. I have a transcript back from CBN, Pat Robertson's organization, where the lady on the transcript is saying, Lossie's a different. Don't tell him I said this, but he's a Jekyll and Hyde.
This is somebody saying or describing Tom. That Tom is a Jekyll and Hyde.
He waves a gun around.
He waves a gun around. I don't even know if he owns one at this point, to be honest.
Fist through a door.
But the putting his fists through doors and walls, I'm aware of people who've done that. It's not too far off to say that Tom did that himself. This person's accusing him of doing that. I've never seen Tom get upset. But he also likes to stay up in his corner in his house and wait. Like, I was his guest, and he'd stay away from me in his own house. Like, instead, he tells me that he tells Veronica here last week that, like, I was lazy, I didn't get anything done. No, like, he wanted to do work whenever he felt he was ready. And if I wasn't there with it, just like October with the part 23, like, I was waiting for him here for 5 minutes, and then he texts me saying, all right, I'm moving on to other things. But, like, if I wasn't ready last year when I was at his house, like, that moment that he was ready to talk and get stuff done, then, like, that whole day is done. And he's like, oh, no, we missed the window. God's not speaking to me anymore. That's the type of stuff he would be saying to me.
It's all in the transcript. And it was recorded session with an anonymous. He started as Pat Roberts security guard, something like this, and it ends up with these guys. And so I'm holding this up, I think it's kind of fun. I'm in danger of being ridiculed by an evil snowman.
Oh my God!
I mean, the hat is nowhere else except on Burl Ives. Facial fur. That's what I'm dealing with. It's like,
they're part of the Nephilim clown bloodline.
It's incredible.
Veronica just called me part of the Nephilim clown bloodline. This is what these people are playing at. These are not people to be taken seriously. I'm sorry. Tom, instead of retorting anything I said, just compares me to a 1960s claymation cartoon. And look at it. Look how he's peeking out from behind. Look at this asshole. Hold on. Just look at him. I got Steve good, right? Like, what the fuck?
He started as Pat Roberts security guard, something like this, and it ends up with these guys. And so I'm holding this up, I think it's kind of fun. I'm in danger of being ridiculed by an evil snowman.
Oh my God!
I mean, the hat is nowhere else except on Burl Ives. Facial fur. That's what I'm dealing with. It's like,
they're part of the Nephilim clown bloodline.
It's incredible.
So that's what they think of me. That's their retort to my 5.5 hour live stream last week. Yeah, what was it, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something? I don't know. But you could see he has this up. He took a screenshot, did the comparison. Yeah, Brenda, I know it's not, but he's claiming it is. Whatever.
The hat is nowhere else except on Burl Ives. Facial fur. That's what I'm dealing with. It's like,
they're part of the.
I've dealt with people laughing at me my whole life. You know that? And now I have a bunch of 60-year-old degenerates doing it now, too.
The Nephilim clown bloodline.
It's incredible. It's like, yeah. And so your biggest fans, quote, are the ones that will turn on you so hard. And it's like, and they'll come at you hard because it's...
Your behavior and reactions and how you treat other people, especially how you treated me, that's how you elicited the responses you got from me and others. It's very simple. Narcissists do not want to take ownership over their own actions. Instead of retorting anything that I brought up, this is Tom's response. Making fun of my appearance. You see how I said this to Brenda the other night. How old is Tom? And I think a serious question is, how old mentally is Tom?
It's like,
They're
yeah.
part of the Nephilim clown bloodline.
It's incredible. It's like, yeah. And so your biggest fans, quote, are the ones that will turn on you so hard. And it's like, and they'll come at you hard because it's not about supporting the cause. It's about attaching on. And with this...
I don't think it's about helping people. I don't think it has anything to do with helping people at all.
Sleep narcissism, complete about themselves. And they
using words that I have said. He was not talking about narcissism until I brought it up last year. And once I identified the narcissist, that's all I've been doing is calling them out. The three that you see here are all narcissists. Because Veronica sees no shame in doing this without having me there. Tom sees no shame in what he's doing because he thinks he's righteous with everything he's doing, including making fun of me that I helped him get exposure. He's talking about me being a nobody. Type in his name and the word interview on Google, and all that pops up is my interviews with him. In a way, I gave him a name. He reconnected with John B. Wells because of me. He talks about Linda Moulton Howe out of one mouth, but he pretends like he doesn't know who John B. Wells is out of the other mouth. Like after cutting me off, he just minimizes the impact and importance of being on a nationally broadcast radio station that also streams live on the internet globally. That's what I helped Tom get on, is John B. Wells twice. He was on it the second time last year. Like, he went on twice. First time was in March, and then the second time was while I was staying with him. And during that time, after the show, he was on the cell phone with John and his wife, Brendy, put it on speakerphone. And so I was hearing all of this, and John is talking about how he's going to help Tom write the book. Now, mind you, that interview, Tom went and told John, this is April 2024, he told John that July the book would be ready. But he had just told me about, like, making a book a week before. So he expected me to complete a book in 3 months. And prior to me leaving, he made it into 4 books. So he wanted 4 books, with the first book being done by July, which is 3 months. And yes, all I wanted to do was help him. I was trying to organize his story to get it coherent so that it's solid for when he goes to court. But that's not going to happen now. Like, I'm not going to put my time and effort into that. I'm responding to this attack against my character, and I have every right to do so here. And yeah, so let's continue this.
Supporting the cause. It's about attaching on. And with this...
I don't think it's about helping people. I don't think it has anything to do with helping people at all.
Sleep narcissism, complete about themselves, and they feel like they're called deep players that can't make it on their own. They latch on. But when they attacked like you, Penny, and Jen Marie, and then wanted me to go on the air to talk bad about you, like they did with Veronica, it's a pattern.
Yeah, Zen Ray here in the chat says, he was like a kid. He could hardly contain his smile before showing everyone his funny that he thought of. Yeah. Yeah, we just saw that. He was very... Look at this. We'll watch it one more time. Then we'll move on into this video. We got to get past this video and then get into the second one. And we have only 2 videos today. The second one's a little longer, but we'll get to it.
It's all the transcript. And it was recorded session with an anonymous. He started as Pat Roberts security guards and things like this, and it ends up with these guys. And so I'm holding this up because I think it's kind of fun. I'm in danger of being ridiculed by a evil snowman.
Oh my
It's the Nephilim.
God!
I mean,
It's
that
from the
hat,
Nephilim.
the hat is nowhere else except on Burl Eyes. Facial fur. That's what I'm dealing with. It's like,
They're
yeah,
part of the Nephilim clown bloodline.
it's incredible. It's like, yeah,
It humors me that he used the term facial fur. This is the same dude that started wearing a pencil mustache after I left. Okay? Talk about having a second midlife crisis here.
And so your biggest fans, quote, are the ones that will turn on you so hard. And it's like, and they'll come at you hard because it's not about supporting the cause. It's about attaching on. And
You hear that? That's a really cult-like mentality. Supporting the cause. What cause, Tom? Your grift? The cause to help people? Who have you helped through all of this besides yourself? That's what I'd like to know.
with this,
I don't think it's about helping people. I don't think it has anything to do with helping people at all.
sleep narcissists, complete about themselves, and they feel like they're called D players that can't make it on their own. They latch on.
He's calling me the D player. Just letting you know that.
But when they attack like you, Penny, and Jen Marie, and then wanted me to go on the air to talk bad about you, like they did with
Yeah, this is important here. Let's
At
read.
all.
sleep narcissists, complete about themselves, and they feel like they're called D players that can't make it on their own. They latch on. But when they attack like you, Penny, and Jen Marie, and then wanted me to go on the air to talk bad about you.
So, again, I don't think I ever asked Tom to directly talk bad about Penny on air. I just wanted him to share what he told me, which was Penny was starting to go around and tell all of her guests and co-hosts that Tom was acting suicidal and was a danger to himself. And that same day I said, hey, hop on live with Brenda and Susie and myself, and we'll tell you who Penny really is if she's doing that again to you. And he also mentioned that other people did this same tactic to him of trying to like say that he's suicidal and schizophrenic. You heard earlier here in this clip Jekyll and Hyde punching a hole through the walls. Hey, he just said about patterns. If multiple people are saying the same thing about him, what does that say? It's not just one-offs here. It's not just the people that are in Hollywood, like trying to tarnish his name. I really think these are other people who initially were genuinely trying to help him before he pushed them off their feet and laughed at them laying on the ground.
Like they did with Veronica. It's a pattern. And I said, I don't do that. Penny,
I don't either.
You didn't do it. I didn't do it. Veronica doesn't do it. And so here we are, those of us that don't do that. But I will.
Veronica went and brought these two on after she watched this show from 2 weeks ago. Veronica is instigating all of this misinformation occurring here. And without me there to defend myself yet again.
They'll use humor to
Yes.
ridicule. And when it's just laid out by God in front of me, I'll take it. But at the same time, what's happening is, I mean, that's a nobody player. And he can be somebody else's biggest fan.
You see that? He calls me a nobody. And then he corrects himself and says nobody player. Yet, all of my content that I've created, along with interviewing Tom, that's the most prominent on the internet right now. So I don't care how many views you get on Roseanne, you're never getting back on that channel. Like she's not going to invite you back into her house, man. Like she was freaked out by you. Like, and other viewers have told me the same thing. Like, I've only watched 6 minutes of that Roseanne interview. He seems like really strung out there. It's just kind of... Okay, so also, I was going to mention this before. Tom somehow got on John B. Wells' show like in 2017, 2018, and John B. Wells' server got hacked. So they lost a lot of early interviews that were up on the server, and Tom's was one of them. And I chalked it up to, oh yeah, it's this deep cabal bullshit, and they wanted to erase Tom from the internet. So, I mean, this whole thing with me interviewing him, the point is to keep it all up. It's in posterity. Like, just, it's staying out. It's across just too many channels now. You can't scrub this stuff. The time that I've spent interviewing him. It's all over the internet. And it's the prominent search result when you type his name into Google. What am I to do? He says I'm a nobody, but he's making himself look very poorly here because he's refusing to talk to me and work things out over a very minor miscommunication. But we all know really it's because I said I stopped talking to this individual, Penny L.A. Shepherd here, which isn't even her real name. So you just have to keep these things in mind here. That through all of this, I kept my integrity. He, on the other hand, once he learned that I wasn't speaking with Penny, he distanced himself and then did 2 reschedules of shows with me before the third one finally leaving after, I guess, staying there for 5 minutes. He's done 4-hour shows with me, so I don't know why a 5-minute delay would even be a problem with him. And again, the first interview I did with him, he made me wait over an hour.
Those of us that don't do that, but I will use humor to
Yes.
read them. And when it's just laid out by God in front of me, I'll take it. But at the same time, what's happening is, I mean, that's a nobody player. And he can be somebody else's biggest fan. And I think God's got a real sense of humor because his sidekick now is named after a fish. But here so anyway, yeah, but here's what returned in my...
You see, it goes over my head. I don't even know what he meant.
What's happening is, I mean, that's a nobody player. And he can be somebody else's biggest fan. And I think God's got a real sense of humor because his sidekick now is named after a fish. But here so anyway, yeah, but here's what returned in my house.
Wow, I think that was a jab at you, Brenda. I had to think about that for a while. Wow. My sidekick is named after a fish. I don't know any fishes named after any of the other people I'm involved with here. You see, he wants me to name names here. I know it. And no, nothing's anonymous here. You could find who I'm talking about and where all their content is. The co-host of Code Breakers here, which is, they're no longer on the channel because they cut ties because they stood up to what this bullshit was going on here. They said they didn't like participating in this, and so they're cut off, just like I've been. Yeah, there's no gray area with Tom. You make a good point. Yeah, Brenda says, well, kiss my ass, Tom. You hear that, Tom? And then Zenray says, I also noticed that Tom is either completely for you or completely against you, which is a narcissistic trait. Yeah, look at that. Yet here, I was sitting here giving him the benefit of the doubt the day he cut me off. And I'm still under the impression that this individual up in the top left corner is his handler, or one of the main ones that we know about. But this is the one that's out in the open. You could see the leash that she has him on.
I mean, that's a nobody player. And he can be somebody else's biggest fan. And I think God's got a real sense of humor because his sidekick now is named after a fish. But here so anyway, yeah, but here's what returned in my...
Yeah, man, go to a comedy nightclub. Go ahead. Use that material. Make some money, man. Jesus.
House after 2 days before Easter. I don't know if I showed this, but this original draft is listed as March 21st, 1993, draft 1, right on the bottom. This is the gold holy grail of the intellectual property rights for the Matrix claims. And so on the top it says, up to date as of January 1994 corrections.
Think of how long I spent interviewing him, and all of a sudden this stuff is just mysteriously popping up. Ain't that something? Like, he was saying this about some Warner Brothers attorney over a year ago. Forget her name. It was one of the TikTok videos that exploded. It was someone that resigned from Warner Brothers. And he was saying, like, this is a precipice. Like, we're right here. We got them with this individual. We know we're going to get the court case won. And he doesn't even have an attorney right now. when I was visiting him last year, I'm like, dude, we need to get you an attorney to work on this case so that you're not all caught up doing this yourself. And I ended up being like a shrink for him because I was transcribing all his thoughts. And that's how he thought writing a book was. I just transcribe whatever is coming out of his mouth, and it could be farts, brain farts. He's not speaking for a while. He says 2-3 words and pauses. He says another 2 or 3 words and pauses, which is a trait of someone making shit up as they go along. Hey, Rob, thank you for being here. Yeah, this is all going to end soon. It'll be... I'm going to put a lid on this at some point and carry on. I need to have this as a retort because I'm not going to stay silent on him trying to tarnish my name here.
So this even has the corrections written in from 1994.
Wow.
All that stuff. This is a gold mine, but this isn't one just showed up by itself here. It showed up with this. And
When did it show up, Tom? When did that happen?
2 days before Easter.
That's what you were trying to say it. Yes, exactly. That's
They can't show up on Easter because you're going to be there.
Right.
You're out and about. You're preparing for Easter, out and about, getting I was getting stuff for Aiden and his girlfriend's Easter basket. So I get back and quite a little Easter present for me.
Yeah, the rabbit, the white rabbit.
Yeah, that's really good. Yes, of course.
Yeah, or the golden, right? Or the golden egg too.
Golden Goose, which is what Disney called me, the Golden Goose. Keep in mind that in the attempt to do Matrix 2, when the Wachowskis said they had to do Matrix 2 and they didn't want to, they thought they'd just do Matrix 1 to save their career, and it became such a hit they didn't expect it to, that they were told by Warner Bros. You got to do Matrix 2. So they have in Matrix 2, they try to do it themselves, where they have this motorcycle riding and opening with motorcycle disintegrates in the air, and it still looks like you're riding a motorcycle. That is so stupid. And then what happens is they have Smiths cultivating the DNA of something of Neo to create a super Neo nemesis, and they name him Greg. You have Thomas A. and Greg.
Oh, God.
Oh, they're stupid. They're so dumb.
Are any of you following along with what Tom is speaking about? Because I have no idea who the hell Greg is.
So I'm glad for the evil snowmans because they're not that bright. Why? And why are they breaking into nothing's?
I'm showing you how this person is. Okay? I'm putting this out here for all of you to see what this guy will do if he thinks you're his enemy. Which I'm not. It's just real silly.
For Neo nemesis, and they name him Greg. You have Thomas A. and Greg.
Oh, God.
Oh, they're stupid. They're so dumb. So I'm glad for the evil snowmans because they're not that bright. Why?
He said, laugh at the evil snowmans because they are not that bright. He's essentially saying, laugh at me, Stephen Yissilmissil, because I'm stupid. No, I'm not, dude. No. I said it before in part 23. This is a big misstep for you, Tom. You have no idea. I mean, you forgot about how big of a reach that my content has. And this is all going out to those same people that followed us the whole time that you were doing the interviews with me, man.
Why are they breaking into nothing's taken? I can tell they're restoring it. Here's your answer, Veronica. And you guys, I love you guys so much. You are.
Why are they breaking in? Nothing's taken. That's how I know they're restoring it. Those are his words.
Oh, they're stupid. They're so dumb. So I'm glad for the evil snowmans because they're not that bright. Why? And why are they breaking into nothing's taken? I can tell they're restoring it. Here's your answer, Veronica. And you guys, I love you guys so much. You are the good guys.
I love you too. I love you too, Penny. I love you, Tom.
You're my heroes. You stood up. You
You
stood
guys
up.
are my heroes, man.
You stood up. You stood up. You both stood up. And it's like that. I can't tell you what that means after 30 some years of snowmen getting to go and do what they do. Nobody.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Don't forget Jack Frost.
Yeah, Jack Frost, yeah.
I'll tell you later.
That's... So she says Jack Frost. That is Veronica saying... That's her describing her old co-host. Do you see that? And she's so smug about it. Jack Frost. Ha ha ha! I'll tell you later about it. Ha ha ha! Spoiler alert, she's talking about her own ex-co-host that said that I make more sense than they do. Alright, oops. Sorry. Not sorry. I'm just getting the truth out here.
I can't tell you what that means after 30 some years of snowmen getting to go and do what they do. Nobody.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Don't forget Jack Frost.
Yeah, Jack Frost, yeah.
I'll tell you later.
So look at the bottom of that. Can you see that?
Yes.
Praying
John, did
for
you
time.
know that John Walsh has his picture with George Michaels?
Now here's Penny bringing her obsession of this individual named John into this equation, which plays into the definitions that we went over earlier at the beginning of the show.
That's creepy. That's
It
very
is.
creepy. That's kind of like a standing next to your trophy.
Yeah, that's what they do. You guys know that they do that.
Oh yes, they do. They send people to get pictures with you and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect time for me to show another picture here. So, Tom, on his own volition, after claiming that him and I got so much work done. Remember this. He said we got work done. We got so much work done that he wanted to go out and eat a celebration dinner at a restaurant. And we chose Texas Roadhouse. Okay. Oh, man. He showed the hostess his screenshot of the animatrix. You see this clock? I wrote the Matrix. He said those words to the hostess. I'm like, leave the hostess alone, man. I don't know if I had the photo. I don't know where it is now. Dang. Anyways, after we finished our dinner at Texas Roadhouse, he insisted that we take a photo together. And so there's a photo of us at Texas Roadhouse at a booth. Damn it, I can't find it, so it's gonna have to wait till the next time. I thought I had it here. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, you know. I do all this stuff. Yeah. So when he's saying that people go ahead and take pictures like trophies, like, I'm just trying to say that's not what happened with Tom and I. Tom insisted that we get a photo together for like documentation. Like, here's proof of us, we got the work done, and here we are celebrating at a dinner. And I'm sure at some point he's gonna try to claim that I took a picture with him because I wanted a photo as a trophy as well. And again, that is not the case. That is not the case. All right. I'm checking one more spot to see if I have this picture here. If not, it's not a big deal. But I know it's somewhere. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find it yet. All right, let's continue with this. But he's explaining here how people take trophy pictures, and Penny tried to tie it into being connected to her ex-lover that wants nothing to do with her. So there's all that going on. All right, let's continue.
That's creepy. That's very creepy. That's kind of like a standing next to your trophy.
Yeah, that's what they do. You guys know that they do that.
Oh yes, they do. They send people to get pictures with you and everything.
Yes, when I was doing research, George Michaels attended some gala for, I think, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or some gala, and he had his picture taken with John.
The Hollywood studios don't want us to succeed. They're the ones that have stolen the work. The agencies have profited off it, but they didn't steal the work. It was the Hollywood stole the work. So
Yes.
the agencies are able to buy people off and get minions to work for them, like the evil snowman, and maybe I'm using included. But the thing is that but I see.
They all have
Sorry,
pictures of my head.
I know, it's funny. I want to ask, when is that?
Now the good thing about all this is the bad side. What's happening is you got the intelligent people and the non-intelligent people. The people that can make it on their own merits, A-list, and B-players that can't make it. It's a separation going on now, where the other side is seeing we're the winning side. All of us working together. We made it through. We're the winning side. and now the intelligent ones of the other side are coming over. The
Yeah,
dumb
like,
ones
oh, we
are
were
attacking.
wrong. You were.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
So the,
sorry.
the dumb ones are going to continue on with their accusations where we talk about flipping. They flip with their
Yes.
onto us, right? Narcissism, poisoning, things like that, waving guns around. That's all them.
No, dude. Penny tried and almost successfully poisoned Brenda to death. And this dude's just trashing my name because he had to wait 5 minutes. Really, it's because he doesn't like that I'm not talking to Penny, who's right here. Just so foolish. So foolish, Tom. What are you doing? Yeah, I see what you said, Zen. You got your 2 cents written down. I'm not gonna just end this prematurely. Like, we're gonna thoroughly go over everything before we put a lid on all this. Because, yeah, I don't want to be doing this every single week. But if I have to, I will. If he continues to try to make this a thing. Oh, that's the wrong one. Whoops, whoops, whoops. That's a wrestling photo. Alright, let's continue with the video here.
Where the other side is seeing we're the winning side, all of us working together. We made it through. We're the winning side, and now the intelligent ones of the other side are coming over. The
Yeah,
dumb
like, oh, we were
attacking.
wrong. You were.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
So the,
sorry.
the dumb ones are going to continue on with their accusations where we talk about flipping. They flip with their
Yes.
onto us, right?
Here's the real meta part. So, we can see here, he is actively flipping things around to make me look bad. And as a narcissist does, he's taking his actions that he's doing and he's repackaging it as something that I'm doing. But you could see here, he's comparing me to a cartoon character and calling me evil. Okay, he's trying to dehumanize me. This isn't going to work. But that's the way that he is able to be guilt-free from everything he's trying to paint me as. Because he knows the truth. He knows that I was here to help him. But Penny somehow along the way brainwashed him into thinking I'm the enemy now because I'm not talking to her, and therefore I shouldn't be talking to him either, right? Yeah, if I find that photo, I'll eventually show it here on one of these Let's Talks, but there was a photo of Tom and I, and it's only because he asked, and like it was to show a moment in time that we got work done, where now he's saying that I was lazy and we didn't get any work done.
Narcissism, poisoning, things like that, waving guns around. That's all them, but they flip it, and that's a low mentality trying to separate themselves from being caught, from being blamed in the end. It's
He's describing himself here, people.
onto us, right? Narcissism, poisoning, things like that, waving guns around. That's all them, but they flip it, and that's a low mentality trying to separate themselves from being caught, from being blamed in the end. It's a cowardly move where you flip it, blame the other party, and then you think that you're safe because you can accuse what you're guilty of and separate yourself from it.
I would say to some of those out there that are trying to figure out what is a narcissist. That's a very harsh word.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Would it
Notice that Penny thinks narcissist is a harsh word. It's because it hits home. She knows it describes her.
be somebody that is just out for themselves, or would it be somebody? Could you call a person a narcissist who actually is doing things to help a great populace of people?
A narcissist tries to protect their own self-image. So it's also a very sociopath type of thing, where they need to look good in the eyes of others, even strangers. Oh, did I say that word, Penny? Don't connect it to anything else in your life, please.
That's a great.
Is that person a narcissist, or is that person actually not a narcissist, and that person is actually trying to help as many people as possible and give them a voice, even those who were given a voice who then turned against them?
So, Penny, why did you take away Brenda's voice of a live stream platform and lock her out of her own account and use it for your own gain? A year's worth of an account you stole from Brenda, and you claim to be wanting to help others. And you had money to go ahead and pay for a full year of a live stream service on your own. Getting almost $6,000 a fucking month.
Right. It's a very good question, and you just raised something very important too. Is that the way you can detect a narcissist? I think very, very important. There's one dead giveaway you need to pay attention to, and what they'll do, and the snowman did it too. What they'll do is they'll laugh inappropriately at your pain. How many people have been in relationships like this where something happens to you where you're hurting?
So he's saying that I have laughed inappropriately at his pain. I'd like you to go back and watch all 22 interviews and tell me if I've ever laughed at him during that. And when I'm laughing here, it's more like out of like seeing the incredulity of all of this. And I have to laugh because it's fucking ridiculous.
Those who were given a voice who then turned against that person.
Right. It's a very good question, and you just raised something very important too. Is that the way you can detect a narcissist? I think very, very important. There's one dead giveaway you need to pay attention to, and what they'll do, and the snowman did it too. What they'll do is they'll laugh inappropriately at your pain. How many people have been in relationships like this where something happens to you where you're hurting, and your partner is laughing?
Oh. I'm going to call you out for the hypocrite you are, Tom. You're like that here, but just a few moments earlier, you're going and talking about me, smiling and laughing, talking bad about me. Did you forget that 5 minutes before you said that, you did this?
Security guards, something like this, and it ends up with these guys. And so I'm holding this up because I think it's kind of fun. I'm in danger of being ridiculed by an evil snowman.
Oh my God!
I mean, that the hat is nowhere else except on Burl Eyes. Facial fur. That's what I'm dealing with. It's like,
they're part of the Nephilim clown bloodline.
It's incredible. It's like, yeah. And so you're...
It's like, yeah. Is it, Tom? Is it really? So you see, I just exposed this fraud yet again. He claims that people don't take him seriously, but then he goes and pulls that bullshit. All right.
And just very important too is that the way you can detect a narcissist, I think very, very important. There's one dead giveaway you need to pay attention to, and what they'll do, and the snowman did it too. What they'll do is they'll laugh inappropriately at your pain. How many people have been in relationships like this where something happens to you where you're hurting, and your partner is laughing as if it's entertaining that you're hurting? And you'll see it where it's almost like, and it's a weird kind of laugh. It's actually a kind of a signatory laugh.
That's a sadist.
Yeah, it's right. My sister does it too. It's almost like it's this weird laugh that doesn't even sound like a natural laugh. It's almost like a...
Have you ever heard me laugh like that here? Be honest with me. Put in the chat if you have.
Giddiness of someone else's suffering. That is a narcissist. And when you see that, get out of that situation.
Yes.
Out of that relationship. And it doesn't matter if they say you're their biggest fan.
I never said I was your biggest fan, Tom. Sorry.
And I can also tell you that a real empath, I don't believe can be a narcissist, because they are feeling other people's feelings, and in feeling other people's feelings, you literally know what it feels like. But I have been able to, I remember that when they diagnosed me when I was in the crazy house, I said, "What did the CIA say I have?"
Did you hear that? Well, Penny just said when they diagnosed her in the crazy house. So she's been institutionalized. Okay.
You're their biggest fan.
And I can also tell you that a real empath, I don't believe can be a narcissist, because they are feeling other people's feelings, and in feeling other people's feelings, you literally know what it feels like. But I have been able to, I remember that when they diagnosed me when I was in the crazy house, I said, "What did the CIA say I have?" And they said, "The typical schizoaffective." And I said, "Well, that's hysterical, because I've lived my whole life with a psychologist, never been diagnosed with anything."
There you go, people. And this is where I feel pity, because I feel like sometimes these two people, or actually all three of them, They're not aware of what they're doing. And in that sense, I feel pity.
But now that's what you're deeming me as. Oh, and also you can get that false reading when they're drugging you.
Well, empaths can outlast narcissists easily.
Yeah.
We cannot think of harming ourselves really because we can't help anyone if we harm ourselves, and the only ones we're really going to hurt are those we love. Narcissists.
Yes.
Narcissists are too pussy to even suicide. They talk about it all the time for attention, but they'll never do it. Just making a side note there, people.
They love themselves. So
Yeah, they'll kill themselves.
They're the ones that can take themselves out and picture the whole world crying for them. There was
A narcissist would never do it because they don't have the courage to.
a program I was watching. It was very interesting. Where I thought,
I'm not telling anybody to do it. I'm just saying they'll never follow through with it because they're using it as a vehicle to gain sympathy and attention from others. Okay?
God just puts it in my lap. I'm supposed to see, and pay attention to. And it was about how nurses and doctors, the worst patients they can have, are narcissists that are terminally ill. Because a narcissist world is collapsing in on themselves when they face the fact that they're mortal and they're going to pass away.
Yes.
They can't conceive of that. To them, it means failure. So I don't want to be around my sister when she's terminally ill because she's going to be a nightmare for nurses and doctors.
You hear that? He doesn't even want to be around his sister on her deathbed. Who's the narcissist, Tom? You can't even stomach the final moments of your sister's life to be by her side as she passes. Your own blood. Your own blood, dude. Don't have the time for it. I understand family quarrels. I really do. But when it's their last moments here on this plane, if nobody else is going to be there, you need to be there for them, especially if you're family.
It's all about her. And the same for certain ones that are related to Frosty. So I would say, it's just not a good thing to be around.
No.
Sister when she's terminally ill because she's going to be a nightmare for nurses and doctors. It's all about her. And the same for certain ones that are related to Frosty.
It's all about his sister. You see this? This conceited narcissist is saying, when my sister's on, when she's terminally ill, it's going to be all about her. Yeah, because she's fucking dying. And he can't stand that the attention would be taken away from him to be put on her for just a moment. His own blood.
So I would say, it's just not a good thing to be around.
No.
Sister are narcissists that are terminally ill because a narcissist world is collapsing in on themselves when they face the fact that they're mortal and they're going to pass away.
Yes.
They can't conceive of that. To them.
And he is talking about people on their deathbed because he's saying terminally ill and coming to terms with passing away. He's saying he doesn't want to be there for his sister when that time comes. He's a narcissist because he has no heart for his family. Except for the son that might be adopted or whoever. What the fuck? I don't even know. I'm not even going to speculate. All right. The one thing I said that was good about him at his house was that he showed a lot of care and love for his son that's now in college. Okay? I said he was being a good father to him. But if he's doing all this other stuff, like, Aiden didn't want to be around him while I was there. They never stayed in the same room while I was there. Okay? They never were in the kitchen with me. The three of us never sat down for dinner. Okay?
It means failure. So I don't want to be around my sister when she's terminally ill because she's going to be a nightmare for nurses and doctors. It's all about her. And the same for certain ones that are related to Frosty. So I would say, it's just not a good thing to be around.
No.
Another thing that the narcissists do, because they did it with me, and that was my ex-husband. The whole Omega project was done on me, and he had just taken out a $100,000 policy. So it was just like just saying, kill yourself, you're not good enough. And then you're getting hurt at home, and you can't tell your chief. That's why I'm writing my third book, which is probably going to be published before my second one, because I'm telling it all of how they do it. MK Ultra in a marriage where you're married to another cop, and you're a cop. And
I'm going to read some of your comments here, so I appreciate you all being here live with me. Zenray says, I wonder why he never left. When I told the story about Keanu Reeves going around to tables introducing himself in restaurants, it's exactly what he is doing. Yeah, that's right, son. I'm not lying. When we went to Texas Roadhouse, there was like the hostess booth in front of us. There was the refrigerator that has the clear glass on it that had all the raw meat that you could pick out for your dinner. And that's one of the first things we did with the hostess. After we picked the meat out, he pulled his phone out. And then he did the thing like he did in our interviews. You see this? You see this? Showing the clock. And I'm just looking at Tom like, don't start doing this now. Like, we're supposed to be out here celebrating getting work done, and here you're trying to get validation from someone that's a complete stranger. They're trying to just work their hourly job as a hostess. And he told her that he wrote The Matrix. And she's like, oh, really? Wow. Yeah. What type of response do you expect from these people, Tom? Like, you dump it on them. And Penny was the same way. Penny and you could hear it from Susie. She says it in the other videos. Maybe the one we'll show today. But Susie said that Penny would do the same thing. I'm the 11 that they made from Stranger Things. She has no proof of that, by the way.
You can't talk. You can't tell how bad it's going because you're not going to be part of the good old boys club. And the Omega Project is there. But real quick, when I was sent the DARPA agent, he said, do you know who's going to be the one that's going to turn their back on you or get rid of you? Is the person that you're breaking bread with.
I'm going to read the rest of the comments here in the chat. Sorry about that. So, Zen said a few more things. Zen says, your laughter comes rolling out from within, Steve. It's spontaneous and a joy to hear. Veronica's laughs have all been clipped, and she's been covering her face when laughing. Brenda says, you have to be a strong person to do that. So they don't fit that. I'm not sure what that was about. And yeah, they're trying to pull you into their crazy house. After all this, don't let them. No, I'm not doing it. I mean, they're coming out here as a response to me speaking out. They're doing this to silence me. They think I'm going to just go away. Like, no, I'm here to stay, man. And I'm not going to lie about my past and say that I never knew or interviewed you, Tom. I'm not going to do that. But I guess I didn't ever know you, Tom. If you're this two-faced with people, I never knew you, but I interviewed you. And that fact is going to remain true for forever, because it's going to be online forever. And unfortunate for you, Tom, these are the videos they're going to see after all of the interviews. This is the epilogue. I'm sorry to say. Like, this is the postscript. This is after the story that you tried to sell the world. And now that you feel slighted by a 5-minute window, which really it was about me cutting Penny off from my communications, you don't want anything to do with me. Yeah, Tom did not write The Matrix as we see it today. He did not write that. He continues to conflate the two, and I keep on, when I was doing the interviews, I was saying, creator of the Immortals, aka The Matrix. I made that distinction. He does not make that distinction. He straight up says he wrote The Matrix. Which the first 12 pages of the Immortals have nothing to do with The Matrix 1999. Which is very damning for you, Tom. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
So you got Frosty, I got Jack Frost. And I thought they were friends, not the other guy, but they're not.
They're referring to both myself and Veronica's co-host. And they're using these code names for us. Again, a dehumanization tactic so that they can bash us without feeling guilty. That's what this all is.
That's going to turn their back on you or get rid of you is the person that you're breaking bread with. So you got Frosty, I got Jack Frost, and I thought they were friends. You know, not the other guy, but they're not. They put me in public. They say, okay, they're talking crap about you, Veronica. Let's go do a show on defend yourself. And me thinking, oh, maybe I should defend myself, right? Because I'm being.
You see that? She understood at first, but then Penny and Tom got on a three-way call with her, and the rest is history. Veronica got compromised, and now they're all going to a conference together in July.
Hit on like in my brain, like you gotta defend yourself, and I'm like.
By the way, I don't care about these conferences. I said that was not my main objective. I don't want to be on yachts with starlets talking to world leaders and dignitaries advocating for world peace. Sorry, that's fantasy land, dude. You need to get your story out there. You need to get the proof down. You need to go to court. If you went to court already, you lost. I'm sorry, that's the facts here. If you want to go to court again, you need to do it the right way. Don't go to the 9th District in California. You went to the worst court in the entire fucking country to go and fight your case. And you did it with blindly trusting those around you. And you're doing the same thing here, blindly trusting Penny, even though I'm dishing out all this truth, showing who she really is. She's taking advantage of you. You don't need her, Tom. You could support your story without her, but you cannot come to terms with that.
I fell for that, and I don't need to defend myself anymore. And I'm glad I'm part of the better group now.
You're part.
Yes.
You guys are tops, and we're all rising stars, and I love it to make a difference. We get to make a difference. If
he only cares about stardom. And he's been told he's the star sitting on the bench, like the benched picture for the 9th inning. Benched the whole game until the 9th inning. Oh, it's still the bottom of the 3rd, dude. You better get ready. Shit.
I couldn't make a difference, and if we couldn't make a difference, I'll go do farming. Because it's really about that. I gotta wake up in the morning and go, am I?
By the way, Tom, I don't think you could ever pull off farming if you can't even keep a 20-foot by 5-foot garden alive a month after I leave. That I helped you dig out and plant and everything. I'm sorry. Like, if you let those plants die like that, then you're not going to be able to farm. I don't know how fanciful you want to talk about yourself with a post-apocalyptic version of you, but you're not going to be a farmer. And if you're going to try to prove me wrong by becoming a farmer, good for you. Like, at least you'll learn something. But you're definitely not a farmer now, okay? Like, you can't even take care of a garden that I helped you put together.
You guys are tops, and we're all rising stars, and I love it to make a difference. We need to make a difference. If I couldn't make a difference, and if we couldn't make a difference, I'll go do farming. Because it's really about that. I gotta wake up in the morning and go, am I doing something that's gonna make a difference to make a better world? And that's what even put the black sails thing I was talking about, black sails, that production.
To everyone that has a responsibility of a podcast, because it is a responsibility, because people do listen, and the words "be kind to one another" are not enough. Use your time, your airtime.
How is Tom being kind? How are the 3 of these individuals practicing their mantra of being kind? When you see what they just did, in retort to everything that I spoke about, the only thing that they could do is make fun of my outward appearance.
Very wisely, and try to leave people better than you found them. Try to provide edification and elevation.
So I have to ask this, Tom. Does showing those cartoon images side by side with my face and picture, is that shedding better light on people? Is that leaving people better than you found them? No, you're trying to denigrate me is what you're doing. You're dehumanizing me so that you don't feel guilty about the things that you're ripping me on. And it's unfounded things you're ripping me on too. And I'm here retorting it, and like all you're gonna do is just make fun of like what my mustache and my white skin. It's so bottom of the barrel for you, Tom. From everything you talk about being altruistic and all of this stuff, and here you are doing this shit
For them. As simple as being in a grocery store and walking up to somebody and smiling.
Yeah.
And, you don't know what that smile might have meant to that individual. So give a smile away. Pray for people. I know that the adage is pray for your enemies. That's probably the hardest thing, to pray for your enemies. But, we're tasked to do that. And
Yikes.
pray for people. I know that the adage is pray for your enemies. That's probably the hardest thing, to pray for your enemies. But you know,
I'm saying there's something else going on here, because he should not be this happy talking about praying for enemies. Like, you create straw man enemies, dude. Like, I was never your enemy. I don't know what you're smoking. All right, this one's almost done here.
we're tasked to do that, and maybe someday they will change. Maybe they won't. That's up to them. And you know, I'm going to say, not just try to be kind. Be kind. Be kind to one another. And
How is this being kind, Penny? How is this being kind, Tom? Tell me. Tell me, please.
and say kind words, because when you say very harsh words,
Like narcissist? That's what you are. That defines you to a T, Penny. And that's why it makes you feel weird. And all you'll try to do is deflect.
those words they're intended to reside in you, like a record that continually plays. They're intended to diminish and to hurt. And don't listen to people.
What Tom just did was intended to diminish and hurt. Yet she's here supporting what Tom just did with making fun of me and all that bullshit. It doesn't even bother me. But I'm just shocked that this is his reaction to my concerns. That I see holes in this story now after being just blanket, like, accepting, like, okay, I give you the benefit of the doubt, Tom, let's get this done. But now that he's saying that I'm in the same category as his enemies, like, oh man. Wow.
That diminish or hurt you. Know your own worth in Jesus Christ, and count on that. Don't listen to those that are trying to tear you down.
I'm surprised her tongue didn't burn off saying his full name there.
And don't be a person to tear other people down. But definitely be a person that if somebody has done something wrong, that you feel that you need to call it out. Call that out. That's how we all heal, and we help others from getting sucked down a hole.
And see, here I am calling out what these individuals are doing. And no, I won't be sucked down their hole. Because they think they're going to win their case and shit. No, they're burying themselves doing these videos here. Like, they could have ignored doing all this and could have carried on doing their conferences and stuff. But now that they've gotten all of this out into the public, it's... sorry, it's game over now. Because now I'm reviewing it too.
I don't like to devote any time to that. I will call out people that are in the political arena, like Biden, and people that have destroyed the United States of America, and the demon rats and the Satanists. I will be calling them out on a regular basis. So I'm just going to say, pray for everybody, including your enemies, and in the hope that someday they will change. Now, I do know that the psychopaths, they don't change. And a psychopath will, we talked about this right before, Veronica, about forgiveness. A psychopath will follow you until the ends of time. And you
hear that, Tom? Penny will follow you till the ends of time.
Will not be able to shake them. They will come after you until either they're dead or you're dead. So when you're doing forgiveness for people, again, the forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for them. They could care less one way or the other. Their goal is to hurt and then walk away, and then you're left they want to leave you in a puddle being a hurtful person, right? But
again, they have no idea that they're describing themselves. They probably can't grasp that concept that they are describing themselves because they are narcissists. And the word narcissist is dirty to them because it describes them.
You know, in my world, I try to treat people well, and I try to...
Oh, you're not doing a good job, Penny.
Edify them. And it's not a fake thing. It is who I am. When I say, hey, Tom, I love you, I mean it. It's not a fake thing. When I say, Tom, you're a good man, it's not a fake thing. I'm not trying to get anything from Tom. I'm actually trying to tell him my feelings and tell him things that other people haven't. When somebody tries to diminish you, they're going after all of you.
This is how I know Penny watched my videos. And, like, I already knew because of the other stuff she said. But I pointed out specifically that Penny love bombs everybody, especially Tom here. And here she's trying to correct the record, being like, I say it because I genuinely mean it. No. No, sorry.
And they want that diminishment to be playing in your mind like a broken record. So when you have people on your show, or when you see people, when you shake your hand, try to be that person that elevates them. And that's one thing I learned from Tom, too.
That's so
To be playing in your mind like a broken record. So when you have people on your show, or when you see people, when you shake your hand, try to be that person that elevates them. And that's one thing I learned from Tom, too.
I elevated Tom for 2.5 years, and I'm elevating the words he's saying now because it's speaking badly about me, it's inaccurate, and I'm correcting the record here. Sorry, dude. This is all you're doing at this point. Like, you could have just not spoken about me, but you had to do it. So here I am, defending myself.
That's
Just want to close with that.
you gave me the image of the Ice Age film I love, where it's Alpha and the boy with the wolf, and how they would form around the fire of their circle. They would help protect each other with the spears out against the saber-tooth and things like that. And that's what we need to do. We stand for each other, and it's really about being genuine and finding other good hearts. And the other side will attack individuals. They'll attack. They're kind of like hyenas. They're kind of fearful, afraid, and they attack an individual. But when they have a group, they're trying to.
Look at this. He just attacked me, an individual. And Veronica's ex-co-host, another individual. So all they did is attack here.
And things that other people haven't. When somebody tries to diminish you, they're going after all of you, and they want that diminishment to be playing in your mind like a broken record. So when you have people on your show, or when you see people, when you shake your hand, try to be that person that elevates them. And that's one thing I learned from Tom, too.
That's
Just want to close with that.
You gave me the image of the Ice Age film I love, where it's Alpha and the boy with the wolf, and how they would form around the fire of their circle. They would help protect each other with the spears out against the saber-tooth and things like that. And that's what we need to do. We stand for each other, and it's really about being genuine and finding other good hearts. And the other side will attack individuals. They'll attack. They're kind of like hyenas. They're kind of fearful, afraid, and they attack an individual. But when you have a group they're after, they usually scurry away. They have trouble with that. So I like the Ice Age circle idea, where like I stand.
I'll tell you something right now, dude. I'm not just an individual here. I have a channel that's very visible to the world. I have almost 10,000 different subscribers across all platforms. And yet you're still here saying I'm a nobody D-list, anonymous, unintelligent individual, and you go make fun of my appearance here. So, again, who's who here? They're describing themselves. I apologize, I'm going back and forth a lot and repeating these clips, but it's important to dissect all of this way. Because I can't do this any other way.
The saber-tooth and things like that. And that's what we need to do. We stand for each other, and it's really about being genuine and finding other good hearts. And the other side will attack individuals. They'll attack. They're kind of like hyenas. They're kind of fearful, afraid, and they attack an individual. But when they have a group they're trying to go after, they usually scurry away. They have trouble with that. So I like the Ice Age circle idea, where like I stand for Annie's reputation, I stand for Veronica's reputation. I know their hearts. I know who they are. I've known a long time. I trust them. They've come through. We've weathered a lot of things like a band of sister brothers.
You're being played, Tom. Veronica's that D-list person you're trying to describe me as, because she came in here and invited you to blast me on her channel, and then she did it again and doubled down and brought your handler on with, and then here you're all describing yourselves, talking about narcissists and psychopaths.
So I will stand for you guys, and I will not be pulled in any program to talk bad about you.
Ditto.
Thank you.
But you'll be pulled into Veronica's program to talk badly about me. Hypocrite. Alright, that is the end of part 1. Got one more video to look at today. And Penny's not going to like this one. Not one bit. But it has to be done.
Yes, Norma,
Howdy.
I'm doing it. The gloves are off.
That's right. The gloves are off. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will start the second video here. So, just hang tight, everyone. I will be right back. All right, everyone. We are back. So, we have one more video today, and it is as important as the others here. But, yeah, we will begin this one shortly here. So this is from November. I believe it was like November 29th, 2024. So, Penny left Susie's property on July 4th of 2024. So you have August, September, October, November. 4 months passed, and Susie was still cleaning out the house that Penny was living in because of how dirty it was. It's the truth. What else am I to say? So, after 4 months, Susie finally was ready to talk about all of this because it concerned her. It didn't sit well with her. She found over 100 journals, and no, these are not like notes for books or movies or anything. These are, well, it's all public domain now. Sorry, Penny, but it's not your property anymore. Even if it was, like you weren't even living on land that you owned, and you weren't even paying full rent that you should have been. I think Susie had mentioned at one point Penny was only paying $150 a month to Susie, and that the internet bill cost more than that alone.
Yes, Norma,
Howdy.
I'm doing it. The gloves are off. I'm going to start this by saying exactly this. I am going to go on a small rant. Somebody throw something at me if I'm not doing well. Penny L.A. Shepherd, you have done nothing but manipulate a lot of people, and it makes me sick. You manipulate them for money. You manipulate them on your show. You have discredited people from the programs that you supposedly support. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And I invite you on my show to face Susie and I if you think we are wrong. Now, you also have this really bad habit of jealousy and turning people against people, like you did with Tom Althouse and Brian saying, you turned around and pulled them away, making them think that Susie and I are no good.
So both of those individuals, Tom and Brian, were recently on Veronica's show. You see how they created their new circles, and that's what has happened here.
Turning people against people, like you did with Tom Althouse and Brian saying, you turned around and pulled them away, making them think that Susie and I are no good, we're crazy, we're on drugs, we're doing this. You know what, lady? Let me tell you something. The only person that is sick in the head in all of this is you. You have a serious problem. You are a liar. You are a cheat. You are scandalous. And I am here to tell you that you don't belong in any of these programs. And anybody that supports you, I feel sorry for them, because you are absolutely evil, woman. Do you understand me? You are evil. Evil. And when I'm done, I'm going to find somebody to send this show to David Zublik. Okay? You are all sorts of wrong. You have damaged people in the communities that you supposedly support. And that is wrong. You talk about people, and then, oh, here, let me say this one. Jim Scott, after he was on the show, I've heard you say all kinds of horrible things about him. Oh, well, and he won't answer my calls to come back on the show because I'm pretty sure you got to him, because he was just fine messaging back and forth with me. until all this happened. Scandalous, woman. Let me tell you, scandalous. I was so proud of Susie because Nadine went to Susie and said, should I go do Penny's show? Susie could have went off saying, oh no, God, don't do. But no, this is what Susie said. It's not about Penny and it's not about me. It's about those people that need help in North Carolina. Yes, by all means, go do it. I feel the same way. Doesn't have anything to do with that. But I'm pretty sure you would find a scandalous way to discredit us like you have been. I can't get Brian to come on the show anymore because, well, I'm pretty sure you told him and probably All House, if you go and do that show, you can't do mine. I'm pretty sure you did that. I would almost bet you did. So that's okay. Take your little followers. Take your little sheep, shepherd, and protect them because you're just going to eat them later, just like you did Susie and I.
Yep.
Now, Susie has decided that instead of us talking shit, we're going to bring it to the table. Look at that smile on Susie's face. Isn't that awesome when she smiles?
Susie has receipts for this video, and she's about to show them all here.
It's like sweet godliness right there. Now, Susie, you can talk while I go ahead and start bringing some of these up.
The first one I sent you, because I'm scrolling, start at the top, and then I can look at it on my page, and then you can show it, and I can read that part that I want. So everybody knows that there was Penny kept a log of everything in her life, and she, in her research and in her diary, and so she had thrown all these books away when she moved out, when she left all her stuff behind when she left, and there was about 100 books in there, and so this is some of her.
By the way, I'm just making this bigger so that you could see Susie's full screen. And Andy doesn't really speak in this video, so cropping him out's not a big deal. But I know you're here, Andy. So.
Her journal, her books, her writing, her story.
Yeah, what the heck?
So that first one, Brenda, that I sent you, that
yep.
You probably have to go back to the first one.
I'm pulling it up.
She's saying what she asked for. Of course, we'll get to who she's asking. In this, what we're going to explain is she explains who her God is, and then what she's asking her God for, and it'll all be. We'll show you. We'll show all this to you.
Right. I'm just setting it up because I have to pull it from my I have to.
There was three things that she asked for. Did you find it?
Yeah, I've got it. I just got to fix my screen because I did something. I pushed a button. You know how that works. Brenda pushes a button and everything goes to crap. Oh, come on now. Fix yourself. Stop being like this.
Anne Frank's diary. This is like better way than from somebody's own.
Oh, if this ain't crap.
Journal. Like, reading, like, Anne Frank's diary. This is like Penny Shepherd's diary,
It is.
By the way, the Anne Frank diary story has been refuted as being written by her father to profit off of the lies of World War II.
Hang on, guys. I have done half my screen. Can you believe this? Oh, dude. Let's get it. Yeah, get up.
I didn't have time to edit any of this.
I can't. All right. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go. Well,
there's another.
Okay.
Woohoo!
All right.
We're all here.
Here we go.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and share screen. then I'm going to go ahead and go to, not that one, turn that one off, go to bring that in, and hit that, and then hit share, and then come back here. Now, bear with me. I'll be dipped in horse blood. All right, Susie,
We're doing full screen here now.
we're gonna do it the other way. You go ahead and
That.
hit. Can you
Oh no,
share
she's
it?
gonna show it
Bring
on her.
up and share it. Can you hit share screen?
I had
on
it
your
right.
phone? Yes. To
All right, here we go.
turn on it, Susie,
Perfect.
So you're gonna have to kind of read it, because I can't zoom
Read
in
it?
on
Okay.
it. That's the first one. So read
don't-
it.
All right. So at the top of the page, probably, they could always go back and blow it up, or pause it and look at it if they want to, to look at this page.
Right.
But
Now
on this
these are
particular
straight.
page,
Hang on. These are
Penny
straight
write-
out of. Hang on. These are straight out of Penny's books. These is her writings and her words. So I just want to say that. Go ahead, Susie.
right. So the part on this page that I wanted to read was what she asked for, 3 things. Number 1, I asked to go back to Area 51. Number 2, I asked to be with John. Number 3, I asked to rejoin the CIA. Yeah. Okay.
Asked to rejoin the CIA.
I need to go move on to the other one because the rest of it's like some kind of rubbish. Or do you want to read that?
So that's who she is. She is a CIA flunky. Okay.
She
Apparently.
said CIA flunky.
All right.
More?
What?
Do I bring in more?
Okay, the next page, go ahead, the next page. There's more to that page, but that's the part that, Now this one was interesting because I did not understand what she was writing, but she talks about Barron Trump getting kidnapped here. Because one of the things she said that she was trained to assassinate Trump. That was her and she says that publicly many times.
You hear that, FBI?
That
These were
she's
2016.
MK Ultra and
These were 2016.
Okay.
You hear that, FBI? Get to it.
Books,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I
that-
think, well, I don't know. I think I had 2017, 18, and all the way to current books. I had up to the current
Okay.
2024. So I'm not sure some of these books, but in this one, she's talking about Barron getting kidnapped or something, right? And she's dissecting some words or whatever. And then she said, I am the writer who does lots of research. Me, yes. Seriously, I killed the president of Venezuela. So she's making a claim that she killed the president of Venezuela. Maybe that's why she's always saying that she was an assassin, that she killed people, but then she couldn't remember who she killed. But she does say that publicly, that she has killed people, okay? And she went down to Mexico and she wrote a song called To Kill Her, Tequila, to kill her, or something like that. She talks about that all the time. But she claims she doesn't know who she killed. But here she writes she, killed the president of Venezuela. That's what she writes anyway. I'm not saying that she did or didn't. I'm just saying that's what she said on her book.
That's what she's
On
saying.
the next page.
Okay. Oh man, I just lost my page. Boy, am I having troubles now. Now you had it. Now I'm doing it. My turn, okay? Give me Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, when you gotta expose the devil, he's kicking and screaming and fighting and hollering the whole time, right? Shoot.
Right.
He don't go down easy, that's for dang sure. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you showed one and then you showed two, right?
Yep. This is the third one.
Third one?
Yep.
Are you on the third one?
Yep.
Okay. That one where I don't remember what was on this one why I sent it.
I don't know. I can't wait till you get to the.
Okay,
Satan
yes.
with
This is a letter from her brother. This is a letter from her brother Rob to her when she was in Illinois, because Penny got locked up in a crazy house for a year, in Illinois by her family. She says, allegedly they put her there, but she checked herself.
Tom says the same thing about himself, that he was locked up by pretty much family members. But there's a photograph of him in one of the holding cells. Like, I don't know how he got that photo. Someone mentioned that earlier in the chat. How would he have gotten a photo of that? It's a good question. Unless he told somebody to do it, or he posed and he never was. Who knows? Who knows at this point?
In, so maybe it's her. I don't know, right? So, but her brother Rob wrote her this letter, and she wrote, "Your buddy John was just in touch with us, John McEntee. He is pissed off, and he wants you to stop contacting him. No more emails, no more calls. He is ready to slap a restraining order on you in the state of Illinois. There are cyber stalking laws in effect as of January 2016. Unless you want to spend time in jail, I would seriously suggest you stop immediately." Because apparently she was stalking John, and that's what that was about. So next page.
Next page.
Now this one is the interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay. This one, let's see, is that the right one? Okay. Now here's where I had asked Penny who her God was, right? And she said God, G-O-D, stands for Government of Defense. And the Government of Defense is the CIA, she says. So she writes here, the CIA, aka God, Government of Defense. SAD, which is Special Activities Division. So this is who her God is. And she claims, well, we'll read it in her own words as we go on to the next page.
Now, I want to say that
about her
Norma
God.
pointed out and said the same thing I did when I read that one. I said, John is Brad Pitt.
Oh, John is
and
Brad
Norma
Pitt.
said the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what that was referencing? She was referencing a movie about Brad Pitt, or Brad Pitt in a movie was playing John, or so it was, that's how characters in a movie, and then so she's relating John to that movie where Brad Pitt played him or something in a scene. So
All right, next page.
that's pretty wild.
I know, right? I
Next
don't know.
page.
Next page.
Okay, so we went from the CIA is God, okay, okay, and then she writes, my God is a mighty God, okay, and she writes her name is Ann McEntee, because her name is, her real name is Penny Lou Ann Fortner, and so she changed her name to Shepherd, and, but the Lou Ann, she references herself as Penny Lucifer, or Lou Ann means Lucifer, and she, which I'll read that. I'll get to that part. But anyway, here she writes, "My God is a mighty God. The Government Office of Defense is John David McEntee, my God." So she says that John is her God. He's the head of the Government Office of Defense. Okay, so, and then she goes, Yah, El, or Elohim, like God. So, DOG is the Defense Office of the Government, either way. Okay, and then she writes some other weird stuff, but that's basically, she's saying that this man is her god, and that's who she serves. That's who she's, whatever, calling God. Okay. All right. Next.
Next. Let's get the next.
Okay. Next.
Next.
Okay. I think this one is, oh, here there's the part I wanted to read. There's a lot of stuff in there, but she writes in here, "I love my family, the New World Order." So, there you have it. The New World Order. What? I mean,
They ain't talking about Hulk Hogan either. They're not talking about Hulk Hogan.
come on. All right. So your God, your New World Order. Okay. Clearly, there's some, brain cells here that aren't connecting. Okay.
Brain cells
page.
that aren't connecting. Susie, you're so funny. Okay. Go.
All right.
This is
Now
my
here's
favorite
where
one.
she writes, Lucifer and McEntee, Penny, and she writes her name as Lucifer and McEntee. She writes her name as Penny McEntee. She claims, because she writes her name as Penny Shepherd McEntee, Penny Luann.
Penny L.A. Shepherd, Penny Lucifer Ann Shepherd. She has it written right here.
Or Lucifer. She writes her, but she puts Lucifer as her first name. Lucifer Ann McEntee, Penny McEntee. Okay, so she would write her name, on some of these pages over and over again, and then put Lucifer in front of that. Okay, next page.
I'm waiting for my favorite page. This one might be it.
You have a favorite? I don't know.
I do.
This one's kind of. This one says that she writes, Satan says, serve in heaven, Penny, or reign in hell. Is that your favorite? No.
No, not that one.
All right, hold on. Hold on a minute. This photo got so blown up here. Okay. I'm not even going to repeat it. I don't even want to.
This one might
I'm not going to speak it.
be it.
You have a favorite? I don't know.
I do.
This one's kind of. This one says that she writes, Satan says, serve in heaven, Penny, or reign in hell. Is that your favorite? No.
No, not that one. the one that's my favorite is the one with the hooves. You ready for the next one? The one with the hooves.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready for the next one.
Okay, it's up there.
Okay, this one says. Penny, our world fight, love Lucifer, eternally.
Says I love.
I say, now whose side is she on? Which god is she claiming?
Says I love eternally. It's what I tried to show Tom. He doesn't want to hear it. And Penny does not deny it. She's just mad that that Susie showed this. She claims these are hers. She doesn't deny any of this. And Tom is okay with it.
Is her god? She's written it over and over again in here, people.
Yeah, here.
Fooled.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. All right. Oh, you like this one. You want to read it? Go ahead, you read it.
No, I can't see the freaking thing. That's the
Oh
one.
my God, okay.
Go.
Yes. So here's what she writes. I asked, do I marry Satan with hooves? They said Satan. They said Satan the animal? Okay then. What the fuck? The dragon. I wrote about Albert the dragon. So she wants to know if she's supposed to marry Satan with the hooves.
Does Satan come any other way?
This is her talking to herself in her journals. And no, these are not notes for some movie or book. Sorry, you can't say that, Penny. You've owned up that these are your journals, but they're no longer yours because you left them. All right, but the other thing is you wrote these words and you are not disputing any of this. You're just pissed off at Susie for showing this. And Tom's okay with all this. He probably hasn't even seen any of this.
I mean, does he come any other way?
Man, you know.
I mean, really? Does
He
come
comes
any
with
other
hooves
way?
and, Baphomet horns and everything like that. So,
Right.
I mean, she's prepared, man. She's ready for the hoofy dude. I mean,
So
she's got
I'm
hoof and
gonna-
mouth disease,
right? So I'm gonna make this statement, okay? For all of those that left the show, she tried to get to Tommy. Tommy stayed with me and Susie. We love Tommy to death. She blindsided him, and it was not right, Penny. It was not right. What you did was not right. She basically has kind of turned Alt House against us.
Yep.
He won't
Check.
even speak to us.
Check.
A mano.
Well, Penny, look,
Check.
you know what? Here's my take on it, Brenda. If they want to stay on her side, now they know. Now you can't unknow what we just told you. You can't unsee what we just showed you. So,
Susie says it very eloquently right there.
tonight, Brenda. If they want to stay on her side, now they know. Now you can't unknow what we just told you. You can't unsee what we just showed you.
You can't unknow what we just told you. You cannot unsee what we just showed you. Penny does not refute these words. She claims ownership to these words. There you have it.
So now,
And I tried to warn Tom about all this, and he doesn't want to hear it. He's doing the la 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 la. Like, that's how he's behaving with all of this. He has not talked to me since October, and I almost had him on the phone with Brenda and Susie here, but Penny inserted herself and stopped that.
now you know who she is, where she stands, who she serves, who her God is. And if you want to stay with her, then we know who you are too. Yeah.
And I mean,
That's all I got to say about that.
So in all actuality, here it is. We have heard so much stuff. It has been so bad against us. Susie and I, we take it with the greatest salt, and we just go on, okay? And we go on. But it's heavy on our hearts because we trusted her. Susie let her live there for 6.5 years, okay? Took care of her. All of this stuff. I trusted her. I gave her all of my passwords and my everything, and I thought she was my friend. This woman really did hurt us. Okay, she hurt us bad.
Loki was Loki, who is Lucifer. Think about what he was called, the trickster god. He was a good trickster, what does a good trickster do? He pretends he's your friend, he's on your side.
Penny is fitting the mold of everything that Tom is looking for in terms of a friend, confidant, someone to put their trust in. Penny as a narcissist, and even more of what's been revealed here today with what Susie's shown. Penny has perfected the art of being presentable as that person that Tom can trust. But we see that behind the scenes, she's the exact opposite. And she did go and badmouth Brenda and Susie to all the other guests that they previously had on the show. Penny tried to cut them off from Brenda and Susie. And about half of them said, no, I'm not falling for that bullshit. So They talked about it earlier on in this video. Nadine went and she's doing the hurricane relief for North Carolina. So yeah, the more exposure you can get with that, the better. But just keep your distance from these people and these platforms. I don't want to be associated with Penny and now Tom at this point. I don't want to be associated going forward with them thinking the way that they're thinking now. And they're going so far off. They're saying I've like gone off the deep end. But no, I'm here defending myself, people. I'm defending myself. Yeah, Brenda says they are drawn together, but not by God the Father, that's for sure. Yeah, that is true, Brenda. They're drawn together and they're not seeking to spread kindness and love. Look at all the bullshit they said about me and the other ex-co-host there.
Cares about you, but all the time, he is not your friend.
Plotting against you.
And she is 100% a Luciferian. 199.9999 thousand millions. A Luciferian.
You saw the words said here, written down in Penny's journal. The veil slips from time to time. This is one of those times.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
And I feel like this. Okay, Susie, if she can do this stuff to you, I'm not even going to throw me in it, because I didn't know her as long. But if she can do this stuff to you, treat me like she did, what is she going to do to Tom when she's done with him?
Sit on that and think about that for a long, long time, Tom. The betrayal from Penny's gonna be brutal for you. Normally I would say I'd be here for you when that time comes, but you already decided to burn that bridge with me here. But if you absolutely need to talk to me, Tom, you have my number.
What's she gonna do to Brian when she's done with him? I know a lot of people that have been on.
Yep, there too. So this Brian Singh, there's another guy that's doing the convention stuff, and he's doing crypto now, so Tom's now all on board with crypto, and you can watch some of my interviews with Tom before. I asked him about crypto. He's like, be careful, stay away from it. Now he's advocating for it. Typical.
On her show that she doesn't have come back on, that have come to Susie and I, telling us that she has said this and this and this about them. She had Allie on her show. What did she say about Allie to you there, Susie?
That she was making up stories, that it wasn't true, it was not real, stuff like that.
Out of everybody that's coming forward and telling stories, Allie is the one that's telling the truth. Okay? Allie Carter, if you can hear me, we would love to have you on our show. There would be no judgment. There would be no talk behind your back, honey. We know what you need to do. People have done you wrong.
We're not Luciferians, okay?
That's right. And trust me, I know how important it is.
We don't like the guy with the hooves, okay? We don't have nothing to do with the hoofy dude.
But trust me, if anybody knows how hard it is to come out and tell their story about what has happened to them, it's me. Susie has had things that she has told that has to do with her story. And it's hard to get it out. And we understand that. It is very hard. And it's okay. And it's okay to be a little bit frightened of some of these people, because there is things that are beyond our control. Higher power that is beyond our control. That, we have to fight with every day. It happens to all of us. And the knocks on the doors in the middle of the night, there
is a spiritual war going on between good and evil, Brenda, and it is no joke.
I hear everybody say, oh God, Trump's going to put us in World War III. People, we've been in World War III. World War III is an information war.
Israel already been.
It is a spiritual
left and right.
right. It is a spiritual and an informational war. That is what it is. We have been in it. It's been going on. It's been behind the scenes. The news is not putting crap out because, well, we lie to you news. How
No,
does
they
Trump
do
say
put
it?
they
Fake
put they
news.
put out crap. That's what they do put out. They
Yeah,
put out
they,
crap.
like I said, they don't even report news anymore. They go to the office every day. They wait for that fax machine to come on. That fax machine spits out a paper that tells them what they're supposed to talk about that day and how they're supposed to put it out.
You've seen those grids where all the news stations are saying the same exact script. That's because they're all owned by like 4 or 5 corporations. And so they all get that memo, just like Brenda said. It's all scripted. Sorry to say. Like, if you're still watching the news like that, it's time to stop.
That's what they do.
And
That's what they
And
do.
another thing about Penny, Brenda, is what I thought about is I don't think Penny ever went to a Christian church until after she met John, and
Right.
she'd say,
Norma?
"Oh, Susie, I'm like you. I used to carry my Bible, and I actually when I in 1978, I still have the Bible that my mom gave me in 1978, and that Bible in 1978, I was on the front page of the Jacksonville paper carrying my Bible down the street to the courthouse. Then I went there to testify for somebody that I cared about that was set up, a really good man and his children. And Penny claims that she says, I was like you, I carried my Bible. No, she only got a Bible, I think, after she met John and he was going to church. And then she told me she threw that Bible in the trash can or something. I don't know, something like that. But and then every time she mentioned a church, she would say, I saw a rendering of John in the church, or I saw this in the church, and I went up to Prayer Mountain and I saw all these, I saw World War III, and I saw this and I saw that. That's her whole everything. That's it. That's her whole experience. Yeah. Well, what do you do when you're a CIA agent who is a Luciferian who wants to marry the hoofy dude?
Well, and Norma, I think you hit the nail on the head. I said that to Susie last night. Did I not say that, Susie? I said, what is she trying to be like you? Norma says, Shepard has been trying to steal your identity, Susie. I said that.
That reminds me of how Tom started wearing a mustache after I left. No originality.
Yeah, what did I say last night? What was she going to do? Step in there and get rid of all of you and just take over your property and, this.
Yeah, I got to mention this. This has all been ignored by Penny and Tom until not, like they're addressing this stuff now because I was talking about it on this show and Veronica just so happened to see it 2 weeks ago. But before that, no, they, especially Tom, would not give this the light of day. And he's now lumped me and everyone here along like the against us crowd, right? It's either for us or against us. He's given ultimatums to everybody.
This has been ongoing, and we are hoping that we never have to do this again. But we're tired. We're tired. We've done nothing wrong. We have been good people. We've had our guest on. We don't say anything about our guest. Everybody has a story to tell. We're here to hear it. We don't go around calling them liars. We don't call... No.
Yeah, this isn't just me that's reporting on this. You got these lovely ladies here. You have the ex-co-host of Veronica, and you have a few others here in the chat. Like, it's not just me here that's seeing all of this and saying that this isn't good and that Tom should see it, and he doesn't want to look at it. Yeah, Brenda says they would talk about us to everyone she knows, and we were done hearing it. Yeah. This video came about because Penny would not stop running her mouth saying bad stuff about both of them. So they wanted to correct the record, and that's how this video came about. 4 months after Penny left. That she was still bad-mouthing both of them. So you just have to imagine what are they going to be doing come August of this year? Who knows? I hope I'm not dealing with this anymore by then. That's what I say.
Our guest. You know, everybody has a story to tell. We're here to hear it. We don't go around calling them liars. We don't call. No, 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 no. If there's somebody that comes on here that we don't particularly agree with what they say, I just don't have them come back. We don't go to people and say crap behind their backs. I mean, it's not. We have to stay neutral as people that put out these type of shows. We have to stay neutral
I
with
say
everybody.
when I tell you something, or when I talk about you, I tell you to your face, and if what I say to one person about somebody, I will say to their face.
Yes.
So what I say to you, Brenda, about Penny, I would say to her face. That's why I'm public and I'm saying it to her face. This
Yes.
is who you are, and I know who you are, and you're a bad person. You're never a good person. You are always deceiving and using trickery, and so that's who you are. Okay, so
Yes.
not my
And
friend
make and
on any
making
level or ever will be. Yeah.
right. And making fake accounts and coming on and talking shit in our group doesn't work either.
And this did happen. There was somebody with the same speech cadence, similar to Penny's, asking these really like demeaning questions and like always attacking Brenda's grammar and trying to get her to like I don't know. It was just a tactic to break down this show. And thankfully, Brenda figured out how to make mods on the channel, and now anytime those new accounts pop up, they get banned immediately because we know it's the same person. Because that's all they do. They have the time to just make all. Tom talks about anonymous. Look at what Penny does. She goes onto these shows under different names in the chats and tries to fucking hijack the show. Okay, so she has too much time on her hands.
Because you know what? We can just keep hitting that block button. I've got Denise and Julie out there just with that finger ready to go. You know? So we've just had
Think
enough.
about
Brenda was talking about the mods, like clicking to ban people from the chat.
where she's at, Brenda. She's on a platform, okay, where she can it's like controlled opposition. She could discredit so many people, and she does.
Yeah, actually, I think the first person, I was one of the first ones to kick them because they were relentless. They wouldn't stop obsessing over the grammar and spelling and the titles and the descriptions and just trying to demean Brenda, trying to call her unintelligent and stupid. And it's the same thing Tom's doing, saying that we're unintelligent here. So you could see how that kind of bled into each other. Penny's influence is now showing on Tom. But they're both, like we said, two peas in a pod. They both think that they're the fucking smartest people in the world, like narcissists do. They call everyone else stupid. They don't like being called stupid themselves, you notice, because they always say about how smart they are. Yet they're doing this bullshit of making fun of people's looks and cracking jokes instead of giving proper retorts. Like, come on, like, how old are we here?
Through the
Also, yeah, Brenda says, yeah, like she would get emails too, like in her personal email, she'd be getting these like diatribes, like from these anonymouses, but we know it was Penny. It's like all these different emails, and it's all the same speech cadence, wall texts and shit. I mean, it's not too hard to figure out, but I'm sure they thought we wouldn't figure it out, right? Because they think we're dumb.
It's like controlled opposition. She could discredit so many people, and she does, through the media that she's working with, okay? Which is really scary, knowing what she believes and who her God is, okay? So, knowing who she is and who's behind her and what's driving her, and what and the way that she talks about people and the way that she puts bad light on certain people that need to be looked at in a different way, okay, is pretty scary, okay. But that's how these Hollywood people and certain people get that platform, and then they start that, right?
And now I'm going to tell you guys something, and this is from my opinion and Susie's opinion.
We got a half hour left.
Our opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So we got to talking about when I was sick. Y'all remember when I got really, really sick? And
Here's the story about the poisoning that Brenda experienced. So again, Tom, I did not ever say that you tried to poison me. I said Penny poisoned Brenda, and Brenda ended up in the hospital and almost died.
almost died.
Yep.
So we started looking around at some things. Okay. And did you know that if you slowly put rat poison in somebody's food or drink, it takes 3 to 5 days before it attacks their organs? And I know where I was 3 to 5 days before I got really sick. And so we sat there and we figured this out. We looked it up. What does it do to a dog? Loss of appetite, vomiting, seizures. My dog had 3 seizures while I was there. Yes, Norma Putin. 3 seizures while I was at Susie's. What does it do to a grown person? It can attack your organs, swell your organs, loss
Because
of
Brenda,
appetite.
you stayed in the house pretty much alone with Penny while I was in my house, and she brought you food to your room, didn't she?
Yes.
Hand fed
And
you. Yes.
made and brought coffee.
Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, when I got home, it took a few days. I started having problems with my stomach really, really bad. Really, really bad. And I had made an appointment for that following Saturday morning to go and have a sonogram on. They were going to go and check my stomach. And that Friday before the show, I ended up in the hospital. And my gallbladder, my liver, my pancreas, my kidneys, my bladder itself, my spleen, every organ in my abdominal region was 3 times the size that it should have been. And they had no idea why. No idea why. And they basically told me that I needed to prepare myself because they really thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die until I had that visitor that came into my room that night. And she told me that the person that did this to me tried to kill me. But it wasn't going to work. So, I will tell you that I have all the reason in the world to hate that woman. But I don't hate. I don't like to hate. Hate is a very ugly thing. Never trust, dislike. Okay. But at any given time, Penny L.A. Shepherd, if you would like to come on to this show to talk about this stuff, if you think that we are wrong, and you think that we have the wrong things, and we're not showing the right evidence, bring it, bitch.
And she never did. She never accepted the invite. We know that she watched this video because she was in the live chats for every show Brenda was doing as a live stream after this. And prior to this, too. But
bring it.
eh,
Come on. Because I've had enough. Susie and I have been exceptional. When this stuff first happened, we didn't open our mouth and say nothing. But you got to everybody else. We had a hard time getting people on our show. People that we really liked and love to bring back. But we can't get them. Because you have spewed so much with your evil tongue in their ear that they won't come anywhere near us. And you know what? That's okay. Because I have found really good people that will come. And we like them. We have some awesome people that come on our show. You want to keep Tom Althouse? Tom, honey, I'm so sorry if she does anything when she gets done with you. I hope that you move on and you continue your work with pride. Okay? Because I'm just telling you, it's going to happen.
and I'm saying the same thing here. It's not going to be fun when Penny decides she's finished with Tom. And he won't see it coming. Because he refuses to listen to us here.
Tigers never change their stripes. They do not. Evil never gives up. So, in that aspect, I am just also, I'm going to say this too, because I don't know where to extend that or not, but I watched David Zublik for a long time before Susie ever went, or before Penny ever went on there, okay? And when I first lost my leg, I used to turn him on and watch him because it was so interesting to me, and it took my mind off of the troubles that I had. All I can say is that I hope he's careful too, because Susie's right. The trickster always becomes their friend. They gain our trust. And then one day it just erupts. It erupts. Whether it's a misunderstanding, which I think that the misunderstanding that happened with us in the beginning, Susie, I really think that that was a reason. That was a reason because what she tried the first time didn't work. So I think that was a reason to try to put that wedge and separate us. Okay? It was that aha moment that hit her head. Aha.
Tom had a similar aha moment with the 11:05 timing with that interview I was supposed to have with him after part 22, but he didn't do it because he got cold feet. And he also was looking for an excuse. This is what Brenda's saying. Like, they were looking for something to pin blame on to us for, and they found it. All right? Even with the most petty of things. And they end up doing that.
So, everybody out there that has listened to what she says about us, we are not the cray-crays. We are not on drugs.
No.
The manipulation that was done to us was downright evil, wicked, unnecessary, period. So
yeah, I didn't know I had a Luciferian living in my house. Just, I do now. After reading her books.
See, Penny can deny this stuff all up and down, but it's still written in the book, and she hasn't denied it. She actually, she confirmed that that's hers. And we saw how it was written. This is written like jotting thoughts down, like thinking about shit for real. It's not note taking for some project. This is like self evaluation stuff.
Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder sometimes. I mean, it's like I said,
She's
Susie.
pretty good. She's a good actress. I'll give it that.
Oh, she is.
She's good at acting, playing a part.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's really good.
Everything that she went to school for to
Life
learn,
is a stage,
uses
she
it.
says.
Yes.
She's playing.
Yes.
She's acting this on the stage.
She's a very good actress. Yeah, she's very cunning.
Everything's pretend. She pretends. Yeah, she's pretending to be somebody that she's not.
Yeah, because she definitely pretended to be our friend and she was not.
And you can see it all here.
Right.
And we've heard it. We've been beat up, you guys. We have been beat up, and we didn't deserve to be beat up. There was nothing that we did that we deserved to be beat up on. Okay.
Yep.
Norma, Norma said something about, I will say one thing, and Brenda knows this. I always had this weird thing about Penny's cooking, and I would never eat her cooking. Okay, I'm just saying. She would make stuff, and and I wouldn't eat it, because I just something said don't eat her food. I mean, she didn't wash dishes very well anyway. She just rinsed them, and everything was always dirty, nasty, and she would cook, and it was just horrible. And so she made all this food. I wouldn't. I'd eat my own food, So I was always worried, she was going to try to poison me. I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
And her suspicion was correct because she ended up doing it to Brenda.
Felt like that,
And now I'm going to defend Putin. So she sat there and told Susie, I was there for a whole week. Nope. I was there 2 nights, and on the 3rd day I left. After the 2nd night, the only person that Putin barked at was Penny. If she didn't walk across the wooden floor like a sow cow and make all that frickin' noise, he wouldn't have barked at her. He didn't bark at Susie anymore. He didn't bark at Roger. Roger would come in the room and pet him. He didn't bark at Joel. The only one he barked at was her. And let me tell you, when she picked him up one day, the dog's eyes bulged out of his head, and he side-eye stared at me like, help me. His ears were down, the whole 9 yards. He did not like Penny. That's why he barked. And I was only there 2 nights, and I left on the 3rd day. Around noon, I think it was, Susie. So I wasn't there for a week, and it's probably a good thing. Because had I been there a week, Susie might have walked in and found me shoved in the cupboard and dead. Like the rats.
Jeez. How many days were you actually there? You were, it poured and rained and lightning and the whole time here. I remember it was horrible weather.
I got there.
It was
I got
a total
there,
of how many nights?
2 nights.
Like
2 nights.
Okay, 2 nights. Okay.
I got there about, I don't know, what was it, 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Thank God you weren't there longer because. And you know what, Brenda? She kept telling you, "Come here, come here. I need you to come here, huh?"
And I had told her before that I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to make it, because for me to go somewhere overnight, guys, I have to take day and night meds with me. I have to make sure I have everything that I need. I have to make sure that the dog has everything he needs, food, his puppy pads, all that stuff, because I cannot take my dog out to Susie's and let him outside to use the bathroom, because her dogs will eat him. He will become a snack because he has Oedipus syndrome, so he would automatically get, bitey with them and not want them around him. So my dog, luckily, he's small and he uses potty pads and he goes outside. So I had to make sure he had all his stuff. So I had said to her, I might not be able to come. She got mad. And she got mad. Well, that's not right. That's not fair. You said you were coming. So I went ahead and packed everything up and I went ahead and went. And it did. Had it not rained the whole entire time that I was out there, I would have been able to get out of my wheelchair and get my butt down the steps and have Roger carry my chair down, and I could have went over and spent time with Susie. I didn't have to be with her all the time in the house, but I was, because it rained
Yeah,
the
we
whole
were.
entire time.
It
And
poured and poured and poured.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I left the house, and I'm going to tell you, I spent the time, this is how uncomfortable I was. For some reason, when I left, when I go to somebody's house, I'm not armed. I'm armed if I go to the grocery store. I'm armed if I'm going other places. But when I go to somebody's house to stay there, I'm not armed. When I went to leave that day, for some reason, something told me, pick up your gun. So I took it with me. And when I got there and I unpacked all my stuff, I set it on the nightstand next to the bed. And the first time that she had come in there, she said, "Is that yours?" And I said, "Yeah." And I ended up, when I was sleeping, I locked the door. I never locked doors, but I locked that door. So, and I don't know why. So when Susie and I sat and we talked about this, about certain things that happened and we weren't sure why they happened, I think now they might have happened for a good reason. So it's one of those things. And then when I left, I no sooner left the driveway, got on the road, and all the power went out at their place. And it did not come back on. I came in the house and I messaged Penny and said, "I just made it home." And she said, "Huh, the lights just came back on." I'm like, "I didn't do that." It wasn't me. But there was just so
Now
much
she
wrong
fixed
with
you.
it.
She fixed you some pizza, right? 2 times.
Yes.
And
And
she
I
said she was
did.
gonna make some pizza for you.
And see, Putin, for the most
But
part, I took chicken with me to boil for him, and I fed him his chicken, and I gave Lily chicken, that because I had a lot, and Putin doesn't eat all that, so I would split it up between the dogs, and Lily had hers, and I gave Putin some. But on that second night, I had taken an end piece of the pizza and gave him some of the cheese and some of the crust, and he had a bite. And about 2 hours later, I believe it was, he started having seizures. And he had thrown up just before that, foamy with yellow stuff in it. And I thought, oh, he's hungry. And then I'm thinking, no, he's not. He's been eating his dry food all day long. He can't be hungry. So then he had his seizures. And I found it kind of odd that he did, because the dog had just healed from being fixed, just had his checkup. He was completely healthy. The vet was amazed how healthy he was, considering the fact that he came all the way over here from Russia and had to stay in quarantine and all this other stuff. He was really surprised how healthy he was. So I went over there with a healthy puppy. Now, he's not had any seizures since we've been home. He livened up the minute we left the property. He started acting like himself. And I've had no problems with him since. What does that tell you? Anybody who knows animals, what does that tell you? So, in our opinion, yes, she tried to kill me. And my little dog, too. Well, didn't that come from
and
a living dog?
that is not That's an
That's Penny saying, "I'll get you, my pretty. And your little dog too, Brenda."
opinion, like you said,
Yes.
based
Yeah.
That is
on.
our opinion.
Yeah. Based on the evidence that's here, this is our conclusion. All right, and there's no way to prove the rat poison. There's no way. But you correlate these events together and you're like, hey, something's not right here.
Okay?
Yeah.
Based on the
Yeah.
stuff that we have come up with. And it also said when
Yeah.
Susie looked it up, they cannot detect rat poisoning in your bloodstream unless it has the blood clots. It'll accumulate in the blood clots. Now, I am on 2 blood thinners, one of them which is Xarelto, which makes it so that you can't have blood clots because I'm prone to it. Both of my lungs have filled with blood clots, so I cannot form blood clots. Whenever I have a surgery, I have to stop taking those for 3 days so that it can clot. So that's why when they got my blood work back, they couldn't figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, so also another note to mention, because Brenda just said this in the chat, that they looked up the rat poison in the house. There was rat poison in the house Penny was living in. And there were dead rats in there, too. Hid behind the cupboard. Like, the cans were brought to the front. So when I opened the cupboard, it looked like it was fully stocked of cans from front to back. But if I would have pushed my hand in there, they would have all fell down. Essentially. And there were black eggs in the fridge that Susie's son, Joel, threw out earlier before I got there. Like he just happened to find them because he went in the fridge to grab something to eat. I'm sure he almost vomited having to throw those black eggs. How do eggs turn black? That's what I want to know.
I go to Scott and White, people. We are 7th in the nation. It is a teaching hospital. It is where a lot of good doctors come from. If you go somewhere and nobody can figure out what's wrong with you, that's the hospital to go to, and they find it. And I completely had 6 different doctors so stumped on what happened to me. They
so chat here is saying, why would you keep dead rats? Is it a rhetorical question? Really, the narcissist, they hid it, and once they hide it, they think it's the problem's not there. It's that's just the way they think.
were questioning their own education. Okay, so this was not normal. And, you know, they were sending in priests to talk to me, apparently, and telling me, do you have life insurance? Really? So it was not a good thing. And regardless of whether it was some ho mojo witchcraft mumbo jumbo or at the hands of somebody, in our opinion, it happened. And I'm still not right. I'm still not right. I've not felt myself since I have come home. I'm still having little problems with my gallbladder. They are going to try taking it out. Thank God my liver is perfect. My pancreas has gone back to where it belongs. My kidneys.
You know, I've had
strained.
animals, Brenda. I've had animals that got ate the rat poison, and it ties up the vitamin K in your body. So if you supplement with a lot of vitamin K, that should help restore some problems. You know,
Right.
there may be some damage that's irreversible, but you know, just saying.
I've had a lot of problems with my hand shaking. And my doctor did some checking and said, well, it's not that you don't have, like, I think they were worried about that, oh Lord, the thing that Michael J. Fox has, where he's real shaky all the time. I don't have that. So something is wrong with my nervous system, which can be caused by poisonings. So, this has been an ordeal that I
It's been
would
an
not.
education.
Yeah, it's been that too. But what I've been through, I wouldn't even wish on my
We
enemy.
can laugh about it because why?
You
Because we
can.
know that our God is
Our
a
God.
bigger God than the one with the hooves. Yeah.
Yeah. Our God doesn't get paid by the government. Ah! There we go. Our God is a mighty God. I don't care who thinks so or not. But and works in very, very mysterious ways. Because I know that night that Anna Mae came in there, the night before that was the night that I was laying there, and I said, Father, if I'm done doing the work that I need to do, that you sent me to do, I'm ready. Come and get me, please. Come and get me. I can't do this anymore. It has been so bad, so painful. And then the very next night is when that nurse walked into my room, who nobody knew, nobody's seen her, and they had no idea who she was or what I was even talking about. So
she had a spirit visit her in the hospital room.
he works in very mysterious ways. And the next day, because they'd come in about 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, take blood. And about 9 o'clock the next morning, the doctor comes in and looks at me and says, you know, I'm going to say this. And I said, okay. He said, I don't know what the hell you're doing, and I don't know what's going on. But everything that has been wrong with you is all starting to balance out on its own. Because mind you, they didn't know what was wrong. So the only thing they did for me was they kept me hydrated and they gave me pain medication. That was it. They couldn't do anything because they didn't know what was wrong. And then he let me come home.
Basically, she sweat out the poison, and eventually everything normalized and she was able to go home. It just was a matter of time to make sure that the poison didn't have its full effect, and they were hydrating her, and it saved her life. If Brenda would have stayed one more day, that probably would have been it. We wouldn't even be speaking with Brenda right now. I'm so glad you're here, Brenda. And see, these are the things where, like, even what we watched earlier, that previous clip with Penny, Tom, and Veronica, they're talking about, like, me offing myself, Brenda offing herself. They're talking like that right now. And I'm telling you straightforward, I will not do that to myself. If anything happens to me, you all go investigate it, because I will not take my own life.
And just like that, that whole ordeal was over. And like I said, I still have effects from it. It's hard for me. I broke down about things that I haven't told anybody. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to really be normal again. Not like I was. So,
Normal.
it's hard. Well,
I'll say this much, Brenda. I really think by June of this year, you should be about 90% recovered. And then it's going to take another 6 to 18 months to get that last 10% back. And I think through your perseverance, you'll get there.
I might
there.
as well. Wait,
You'll
wait,
get
what
there.
did I say? I might as well be the new normal because isn't that weirdness anyways? Don't people just say people are weird? Well, that's becoming normal, so just accept it. just
As I say, Roger, I just had a weird dream. He goes, it's not weird, it's
I know.
normal.
I know, right? That's what I feel. I had a weird dream. Oh, wait a minute. It wasn't weird. It had to have just been normal. Normal for
It's
me.
normal.
I mean,
It's,
Yeah, you know, Donna makes a good point here. And the fasting kicked your body into recovery mode. And that's what fasting does is your cells start cleaning out all the toxicity. So the fasting definitely played a vital role in you bouncing back from the hospital like that. If you weren't fasting, your body wouldn't have gone into recovery mode, and therefore probably wouldn't have dispelled as many toxins as it did. So that helped further the process along faster for you to get home.
it's becoming normal now.
that's right. That's right. But
It's the new
yeah, they were
normal.
flushing my kidneys out. My kidneys are still, Jake, when he comes on
Roger
here, I
said,
know that-
oh, Norma says, how's Roger, Brenda?
yeah,
Roger's doing better. He's pretty much using his arm and shoulders better, but it was a pretty rough and tumble, thing he went through. But he's doing a lot better.
Yeah.
So he
and
was
you know,
Roger got injured on the property unrelated. He was doing yard work with Susie. That was a whole different thing.
doing some stuff on the tractor today, and
and Jake,
he's still a
the
little
last
sore. We got to go to the chiropractor.
right, the last
Huh?
time that
Jake?
Jake had come on the show, he was actually laying down, and Denise kind of giggled and said, "You look comfortable. I'm going to get my pillow too," and he laughed. Jake gets dialysis
Right.
a few times a week. We're still live.
Yeah.
Jake gets dialysis a few times a week. So that's why he was laying down. So I had talked to my doctor and I said, hey, I have a friend that needs a kidney. Are my kidneys good enough for me to be able to give him one? And my doctor looked at me and said, Brenda, your kidneys
Brenda?
have got problems. You don't want to be giving that to somebody else. I'm like, oh.
But it was a nice
Well, then,
thought,
shit.
Brenda.
I tried. I tried. I was
Right.
trying. So, I mean, I just can't stand to see when people are suffering from things that can be fixed, but because they don't pay the highest dollar for it, they don't get it. So I just had him in mind, and I do all the time. I message Jake and I ask him how he's doing. And because I worry, I do this. I make my rounds. I'll message Tommy, see how he's doing. I'll message Jake, see how he's doing. I make my rounds, like, every day, every other day or so. I got to make my rounds. But yes, Boo, that's what I said.
So cool.
I have two, so, I might as well just give up one. I mean, shit, I'm not using it anyways. Well, apparently it's not really good, so I tried really hard. So if anybody wants to give Jake a kidney, let us know. Because I'm pretty
Not sure what his blood type is, right? But,
he can use one. Well, they actually can do that different now. If
Really?
the blood type's off, yeah, they have medication that can make it
they can
compatible.
change it out.
Yeah.
That's
why
cool.
not? What do it's just blood donations is where they have to try to keep it as normal as possible,
Ah, okay.
But I tried. I wanted to. I would have done it too. If he would have said yes, you can do that, I would have gotten a hold of Jake right away and said, "Hey, let's get this set up. I'm going to give you I'm going to
I know
give
you
you
would,
one of my
Brenda.
kidneys." I would have. I mean,
You're the
I give
best,
out a
Brenda.
lung
You're
if
the
I have
best.
to.
You're the best.
And I figure, well, at my age, if I give him one and anything happens to me, well, maybe I help one person to sacrifice myself to make somebody else live. So
Oh,
I kind of don't have a problem with that. I really don't. If I can give somebody else a few more years, then it, to me, it would be worth it. I think God put us on this earth and made our organs to the point where we can change them out like spare parts on a car.
Well,
Oh,
it seems that way, doesn't it?
yeah, Although I'm not, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not an organ donor, but I'm not an organ donor for a reason. Because I think that when that is put on your record, I think that that makes it hard for them to do everything that they can to fix what's wrong with you. Because they want those organs because they go to the highest dollar. Nope. But if I know somebody that needs one and I can give it to them, I have no problem giving it.
That's wild. Yeah.
I really do not. Now, you can't really have my eyes because they're crappy. I can't. My eyes are crappy. You may be able to see something, but you're not going to see a whole lot. I know what things on me are good and what they're not, so I wouldn't really want to pass that on to somebody else. Yeah, sure, you can have my eyes, and they wake up. Damn, that bitch was blind too. What? So, but anyways, guys, we've gone a little over, so I think my other dog has got to go outside.
So that's pretty much it, everyone. As far as this video for today is concerned, like I said, I tried to tell Tom. He doesn't want to hear any of this because he thinks Penny's his best friend right now, so to speak. No, I'm not trying to alienate him from everyone that's he considers important. That's not what I'm doing here. You heard what Susie had to present. Tom refused to listen to any of this. He thinks that we're making stuff up. Although now at this point, as you saw in the previous video, you have Penny claiming that they are, in fact, her journals. But that she's upset that Susie published them. I guess the term for publication is very loose these days. If you put it out on the internet, it's there for everyone to consume. And it includes me doing a critique and reviewing videos just like this. So you can claim you're gonna sue people all you want. It's all hot air. But that's it. That is it for the video presentations today. Didn't really have too much other stuff planned. I do have my deep dives for the week, as you all know. The new Coral Castle book is showing up tomorrow, I believe. And I'll post to the timeline here on YouTube when that does come in, just to confirm. Hey, Jay. Good to see you. Yeah, we just went through 2 video clips. Did it faster than last week. We're 2 hours ahead this time. But, yeah, we had a 17-minute video clip that we looked at from a 1-hour show. And then we looked at part 2, like the second half of this show on Beyond the Box with Brenda and Susie, where Susie shows the writings of Penny that Penny left behind on Susie's property. So it was just evidence showing, gathering, just getting that all out there for you to see. And this is content that's been up for 5 months. So it's been out in the public already. And here I'm readdressing it, showing it out there for all of you to come to your own conclusions with it. Because I mean, I know where I stand on it, and really, Penny went in that first video we showed here today. She admitted to the ownership of these journals that she did indeed write them. She didn't dismiss any of it. She didn't. The furthest she went is she tried to say that they're like notes for her book or movie or something, but these look like they're personal thoughts being written down, and all she's doing is like comparing her life to like how she fits in with Satan and Lucifer, and that her L.A., the initials in her name, that they stand for Lucifer Ann. Like, come on. Like, you shouldn't be writing this stuff. Even if you're joking around, you shouldn't be writing this stuff. And this is stuff that Tom just refuses to look at. And in effect, he believes her, and then he goes and denigrates me, and along with Beyond the Box and everything else. Penny went around and spoke badly about Brenda and Susie for those 4 months prior to doing the video that we just watched. And so they finally said, that's enough. We're going to find out what's actually in these journals. We're going to show it to everybody. And that's exactly what they did. And Penny continued to harass Beyond the Box after that. And I'm a mod on that channel now, so whenever she pops up there with one of her sock accounts, I'm quick to diffuse that one. Man. I really wish I had that one photograph. I keep looking back here. If I can find it right now, I'll show it now, but I don't think it's going to pop up. I did have it at one point, but it's neither here nor there. It was just to show you that, like, I did in fact go out to celebrate getting work done with Tom, and now Tom is saying that we got no work done. The work was done. It was prepped to go to the next level, and you decided to just drop the ball on it, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, you think you're going to get everything squared away with Penny? You've been dealing with her for a year now, like, solo one-on-one. What have you accomplished? Honestly, what have you accomplished other than being on her show twice a day for week in, week out? What else am I to say? Oh, yeah, it's good to have you here, Jay. Yeah, I try to get Brenda in here when I'm live, but, I mean, we all have our busy schedules, so I'm glad that we're here today. That Brenda was able to be here while I'm showing her content from her channel, which she gave me permission to do. But it's just, it's unfortunate that we're at this stage of all of this. Here, I'm looking for truth, and then I get all of this pushback here. And it makes you wonder, you know, like how much is being contrived and what's actually truthful here. But we may never know. Here's a good shot. So I'm just going to show you a few screenshots I've made. So like there's this one here. You got this controller that's with Penny on her show, this Heather Day or whatever. And you got Zublik, which we don't know if he's actually aware of all the stuff Penny's doing. But you see Tom like sitting on panels like this, even if he doesn't talk. And like my question is, how do you get your message out when you have so many people on screen like this? Like this doesn't make any sense. If it was just for Tom to speak and everyone else is listening, that'd be a different story. But like Tom barely talks in these interviews. Like this is just one of many. This is back in October. Like 2 weeks before he decided to pull the shit with me and say that like I'm his enemy now. But, you know, that's how these things are. They love to do these sorts of things. And Tom says it's not about attention, but look at that. Like, he just loves surrounding himself with as many people as possible that kiss his ass, too. What am I to do? I'm not kissing his ass. Like, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Like, there's just... That would be foolish of me to do when I have the evidence contradicting things right in front of my face. Like, I'm not going to deny what Brenda and Susie are showing here. That's very damning for Penny and Tom. And again, they refuse to address it. They don't want to talk about it. They just talk down and badly about us. They tried to separate all the guests from Brenda and Susie that they had on their channel. They're doing everything that they were explaining they were doing here. And it's foolish. Well, everything they're doing with this whole situation is foolish. And I'm here to correct the record. I don't care how many people tell me to stop. That's how we got to this situation to begin with. We have hosts that were dropped by Tom, and they were told to just move on, and they're like, hey, that works for me. I don't want to waste my time anymore. I don't want to waste my energy anymore. And then you get to me here, but see, Tom is wanting to badmouth me. So that's a no-no. I'm here to retort. And that's exactly what I did this week. I did it last week. I did it the week before. And when I did it 2 weeks ago, that's what started this whole effect of Veronica inserting herself into this whole problem. And really, she invited me and Tom to like talk it out live on air, which really, the talking out should be on the phone or on Zoom between Tom and myself. But he's refusing to do that. He's just running to all of these female hosts and complaining about how bad and evil everybody is. And he's labeling me as that as well. After everything I've done for him, helping him out of my own pocket, he just decides that, oh, no, I'm the enemy now. I'm the same as Pat Robertson and Weinstein and Joel Silver and the Wachowskis. He thinks I'm just he just puts me in that box. So, again, we come back to the beginning of this show today, where I showed definitions of words. And it was just to point out that, like, these are the words, like, the first video we showed today. It has Penny admitting that she was diagnosed as schizophrenic. She was institutionalized. Tom was also institutionalized, and you can find out on my interviews with him. He said so. His family members, he's estranged himself from. He's been told to his face that he is bipolar, that he is schizophrenic, that he has psychosis. I mean, for him to just jump on these shows now and, like, try attacking me, that's a form of psychosis where he's just focused on me. And that's because I'm coming on here calling out the inaccuracies of what he's spewing out on all these other channels. No, like, I'm going to address the stuff that you're saying that's inaccurate. And I will continue to do so. And this will go onto the video blockchain, just like every other video I've done for the past 2.5 years. So, I mean, the further we go along, the longer time moves on, the deeper Tom digs himself into the pit that he's created for himself. And he'll just continue to try to bring people down with him. And that's why we said, no, we're not going down there. We're not going down there. We're not going to make fun of Tom's appearance. We're not going to make fun of Penny's appearance like they did with us. They're going to make fun of how we look. That's all they have. That is all they have. They did not They did not try to correct the record with whatever I said, because it's all true. Yeah, Veronica has no clue what she's opened up with this. This was supposed to be something that Tom and I should have been able to resolve behind the scenes. But Tom is so insecure and immature that the best he can do is compare me to a cartoon character and call me evil. So, what am I to do? I'm just going to keep on doing my stuff here. Tuesdays we have the Coral Castle show. Thursdays we have Bermuda Triangle. I think Fridays we're going to do the Great Lakes Triangle. And then Saturdays we're going to do continuing the Chicago film industry deep dives. We're doing all that stuff here. We're not talking about any of the stuff we're talking here on any of those shows. This is just reserved for this content and anything else that I want to talk about. Because I don't want everyone to just continue hearing about this BS. Because I want to move on from it as much as all of you do. But I know a lot of you here found me because of Tom. Like, my channel's twice as big as it was before I met him. But at the same time, about 20-25% of my subs are from Tom. So he didn't give me that boost of 2 times the subscribers. He didn't do that. My board meeting videos, all the other work I've been doing, plus all the shorts that I made with Tom, all that stuff helped get the channel to where it is today. But it's still very few viewers live. I'm lucky that I get a few hundred views on some of these uploads, but the shorts get thousands of views sometimes. And if that's not a concern to Tom, then not my problem. He should know that I'm baked into the algorithms here, and he should be more careful with how he treats other people. But he continues to lie to himself that he's a humanitarian and that he's only in the best interests of others. And it's not true. It's not true, because he's clearly going out of his way to publicly attack others on other shows, which he doesn't even have to do. So we're winding down here now. I'll probably get off of here in the next 5 minutes, but I just wanted to wrap it up here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all your time. I did 5.5 hours last week. That's how long it took to get through all of this content, you see. And once I'm done here, I am, in fact, moving on to other things for the day. I have my eBay store to take care of. I have other things in my room that I need to organize. I have other tasks online to take care of. And that's it. I have things to do in my life. This is something I take time out of my day to do because it's important to me. And you saw earlier the first email I sent out to Tom, and then how he lies about how that even went. So I refuse to remain silent when people are spreading false accusations or even moments. Like, he's just lying about a bunch of shit, and then he's turning it back and saying that I'm lying about a bunch of shit. No, dude. You're just doing your narcissistic thing and just flipping the shit. And then he went meta with that video and said that, like, I'm the one that's flipping shit because I'm the narcissist. Hold up. First, your only thing is to make fun of my appearance, but secondly, you then take the very things that, like, I'm saying you are, and then you throw it back at me. Like, be a little more original, dude. You say you wrote 15 other scripts. Where are they? Why haven't they been produced? Saving them to, like, save your life. I doubt that. I doubt any of these Hollywood people are trying to go after you now. I think they think you're a non-threat. That's why I think all your content's still available. That's why probably my content's still available. They all view you as a non-threat. You call me a D-list player? These are your words, Tom, not mine. You call me a D-list player. You call me unintelligent. Like, that's supposed to, like, hurt me. And you call me anonymous, which doesn't even make any fucking sense, because, like, my name is on my channel. It's like, I'm not anonymous in any sense of the word. So, like, you come out here and you start flinging the shit, it's going to be flung right back at you, man. And 10 times as bad, because I don't let this shit go lightly. I'm sorry. It's not something that I just do, okay? I came on here, I've been on here for nearly 4 hours arguing my case here. So beyond that, like, that's it. This dude's gonna be like this. This is ending up in the playlist for all of the Tom Althouse interviews. Part 23, episode 3, and now episode 4. Those 3 videos that are negative about Tom Althouse are now at the end of my playlist. And everybody that's still coming in to this day that are finding it for the first time, they're going to see these videos at the end of the playlist once they get there. And they'll have a lot more questions too, because they're going to be like, what the heck happened? But I go through it in detail about what happened. Yeah, Jay says in the comments, most of the time Tom has spoken lately, it feels like it's related to me. Directly or indirectly, yeah. And that's part of the psychosis thing. Because he's so focused on me, he's not talking about his story anymore, is he? He's talking about how I'm one of them. Whoever they are. I'll tell you this much, Tom, I'm not Jewish. That should be a key indication that I'm not one of them, alright? And beyond that, you have the Satanists that are practicing beyond that whole false veil of religion. You have the Satanists that are open and honest about what they're all about, and Penny was open and honest in her journals about it, and you refuse to look at it. So I tried, man. I don't even know if I can call you a man anymore. I can't call you a brother. I know I can't do that anymore. It's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Like you make everybody walk on eggshells around you, and then the moment they question things, you just throw them out to the curb. So that's that. I mean, as far as this channel, I will be doing more interviews soon. I gotta find out a new video host to bring people on here, because I was using Zoom. I don't really want to use Zoom anymore, but we'll see what happens with that. I'm not in a rush to get more interviews done. Although I did reach out to somebody today in the film industry, so we'll see if they get back to me. That should be very interesting if that follows through. But yeah, I guess I'll end it here. We'll keep it under 4 hours for all today. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having an even better evening later tonight. Please take care of yourself. Eat well, get your sleep. Go outside and touch the grass. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, hopefully Friday if I get that one started. All deep dives here on this channel. All compartmentalized. You won't be hearing any of this content about Tom on those deep dives. You're not going to hear any about it. I'm not mixing it up. You're just going to hear about that stuff here and whatever else I want to talk about here. So that's it for me today, guys. Until the next one, class dismissed.